Well, hello there. Welcome to the Obi Thorn Alliance. And in today's video, we're doing our top 5 movies and show of the year. And we have two awesome guests joining us, the two awesome Zachs.
So we got. Let's go. Let's get you guys to introduce your channel. Do you want to go first, Zach Milne? Because you haven't been on here before. Tell us about yourself.
Sure. Yeah. What's going on? I'm Zach Milne Talks. I almost said Zach Milne Talks Live. I'm Zach Milne Talks Movies. I have a live show every Wednesday, Zach Milne Talks Live, where we break down the movie news. I'm a movie review channel, movie news channel. We just have fun, casual conversations about movies over there. And we have a goal of hitting 2,500 subscribers, and we are less than 70 subscribers away from hitting that goal. We have the month to do it. We would love for you guys to join us over there on our community. And yeah, definitely consider checking us out.
And we got Zach Attacks. He's been on here a few times. So tell us, people that don't know who you are yet.
Yeah. And they should see me in the comments. They should see me in the opening. I'm all over this channel. But yeah, similar to Zach, I do movie news now. I just started doing it to a live show on Tuesdays for like 2 hours where I break down whatever the biggest news of that week. My channel focuses on movie reviews, throwback reviews, because I haven't seen a lot of movies. So I just watch a bunch of movies, classic movies I've never seen before, and review them. It gets controversial over here, so you should join the fun.
Okay, so as Jacob said, we're going to do our top 5 movies and shows. We'll give the people viewing a minute to write if they want us to do TV or they want us to do movies first. If no one comments, then we're going to go with TV. So for the next minute, what's new? Either you got some cool new videos coming out?
I was talking before we started the show with these guys. I'm watching all the Zack Snyder movies before Rebel Moon comes out, and I've got one more to watch. The Army of the Dead, I think, on Netflix, whatever that zombie heist film was. I have to watch that one. Other than that, I'm caught up on all of them, and I'll be making a video about those movies as well when Rebel Moon comes out. So that's been my big project that I'm focusing on right now.
I love it.
Zach Attacks, what do you got coming up?
So I released reviews for The Boy and the Heron recently, and Poor Things, 2 movies that are just recently come out. I did a community post on my YouTube channel where I asked people to ask me any questions, and I got a couple of those. So I'm going to be starting a new series called Attack and Zach, where I answer community questions about anything about my life, movies, reviews, and all that stuff. So I'm putting that together right now. I have like 6-7 questions, so I'm excited to get into that.
Very cool. What do we got coming out, Jacob?
The Boys season 4 teaser trailer reaction coming out today. Today, I think, yeah.
And a video came out last night.
Yeah, Ted.
Yeah, we reviewed. We reacted to the Ted TV show coming out, which comes out on the 11th of January. I'm so excited for it. I really love the Ted movie, so it looks so good.
It actually looks pretty funny.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hilarious. Okay, well, we don't have any comments yet, so we're going to go with TV shows. Let's go around the table. Maybe we'll give the newest guest, Zach M, first, and then we'll go Zach Attacks, and then go me, and then we'll finish with Jacob. So what do you got, number 5 TV show of the year?
Sure. Well, I'll preference this by saying a lot of these are by default because I did not dedicate a lot of time watching TV shows this year. There's a lot that I missed. So just based off what I saw, at number 5, I have Ahsoka season 1. And I did not love this series. I liked it well enough. It had some cool moments. I liked seeing Hayden come back as Anakin. That was really cool. But there were some narrative problems, I thought, with it. And it also got to a point. I've never watched Rebels, or I've seen like a handful of Clone Wars, but I've never watched Rebels. And I feel like as the show went on, it did start to lose me a little bit with its Rebels connections. It started to feel a little bit too inside baseball. But as far as surface level cotton candy Star Wars goes, I had a decent time with it.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
You liked it, didn't you, Jacob?
I liked the start of it, and then the ending, wasn't good.
Just straight up, it wasn't good.
It wasn't that great.
I forgot that I watched Ahsoka this year. That's not great. When he said that, I was like, oh yeah, that did come out this year. Oof.
Yeah, I only watched a couple episodes of it. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I like the movies, but not a big enough fan to watch the spin-off TV series, so I was a bit lost with it and didn't really understand
Yeah.
the whole premise. I didn't care enough about what was going on to invest the time in it. Sadly. What do you got at number 5, Zach Attacks?
My number 5 is coming from Peacock. It's called Poker Face.
Oh, yes. good
Starring
choice.
Natasha Lyonne. I'm pretty sure I've told Jacob to watch this show like 17
I've
times.
seen it.
I really, really enjoy this show. I'm a big fan of Natasha Lyonne. She's been around forever. She does play the same character over and over, but she does it so well, I don't care. And I think this was the best use of her so far. It's about a girl who can tell when someone's lying by asking the question, and based on the answer, only when she asks the question, she knows when they're lying. So it's not like if she just casual conversation, they're lying. And it just gets her in a bunch of trouble throughout. And it's like a great through line of like, our best friend gets killed. She finds out the killer is her employer. She goes on a run. And then each episode feels a little separate from the rest, where she's helping people with other murders while she's trying to escape people that are trying to murder her. So it's a really fun show, has some really great cameos. And I thought the gimmick was going to get old after a while, but they found ways to keep it fresh, like in the middle of the season. So I'm excited for season 2.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that in a lot of people's top 5 this year when I was searching the internet to try and find some inspiration for, or even remember what came out this year. And I saw a lot of people put that, and it's on my list, but I haven't watched it yet. So there's another person that recommends it.
Is that the Ryan Johnson or the Lady Gaga one? I get them confused.
Ryan Johnson. The Lady Gaga one.
There we go.
You really got me there. I thought you were serious.
No, I heard that was good.
So for me, I found it hard I watched a lot of limited series this year, and I get torn up whether I should count limited series as a TV show or not. So I've decided to exclude them. So my list is not a true reflection of what I thought was the best streaming content TV wise. So at number 5, I went with The Shrinking on Apple TV. So I really, really enjoyed The Shrinking. A lot of laughs in it. I think it was fairly wholesome. I thought the message in it was quite good. And having a background in psychology, I found it quite relatable to the characters. And just looking forward to the next season. I thought it was well done. And Apple TV seemed to, for the limited content they bring out, they seem to deliver when they do. So I really enjoyed The Shrinking.
The ending, though, was just out of left field and just came out of nowhere.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't feel the same way, but I can see why you thought that. But I thought it was a really,
Is that
really
the one with
sweet-
Harrison Ford?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. One thing I heard somebody say is that Apple TV doesn't have a lot, but when they make a show, they put everything in each episode. It never feels like there's a filler episode in their series, which I think that's great.
Yeah, I think they do a good job. The only thing is with Apple TV, there's a few they have mostly hits. It's either like amazing or the worst thing you've ever seen. That's the only thing I've managed. I've noticed.
They don't have any in between.
They don't have many misses, but when they miss, they really miss.
Okay.
What do you got at number 5, Jacob?
It looks like we have a comment.
So Perp Minded wrote a lot of great series this year, and also salute. So,
So Perp.
My number 5 is The Diplomat on Netflix. What reason why I had it number 5 is because the acting is superb, and for me, I didn't watch a lot on Netflix this year because of the whole crackdown situation, but from what I watched on Netflix, it was the best show on there. It started off a bit wonky with the main character not wanting to be sent to England because there's something that happens with an English ship being blown up, but it's a really awesome show. It ends on a twist, but it is getting renewed for a season 2, and the acting is amazing.
Thank you for reminding me about that, because I saw the trailer and it looked really good, but I totally forgot to go back to it.
It's worth watching.
The Diplomat.
Yeah.
There's just so much.
With
There's too much.
Kerry Russell, right?
Yeah.
She's a star. Yeah. Yeah, I heard that show was really good.
Some like teen drama when she was young, like Dawson's Creek or something like that, or was she?
Carrie, she's been in a lot.
Yeah,
a lot of shows and movies. She was in Cocaine Bear recently. That was one of my favorite movies of the year. She was in Felicity. That's the movie. That's the show you're talking about.
That's the
drama,
thing,
which was my jam.
Are we
Cool.
going to see
So
Cocaine Bear pop up in your top 5, Zach? Is it still
Who?
that high? Is
Oh,
Cocaine
you
Bear like
of the year? No, it's like in the 40s.
okay? How many movies have you seen?
No, I love that movie, but no. That's funny.
okay, we'll get into movies later. So what do you got at number 4, Zach Mill?
Number 4. I have Only Murders in the Building season 3.
Good choice.
Yeah, my wife and I love watching this series. Season 2 was a little bit of a letdown for us. We did not feel it was as good as season 1. I felt like season 3 this year, first of all, they completely like upped the cast. You not only did you have Selena Gomez, Steve Martin, Martin Short, you also had Meryl Streep, you had Paul Rudd. And they did really great job with all of their characters. They put a musical angle to this, which I thought was going to be kind of hokey and stupid, but it ended up actually being one of the best parts of the season for me. I thought the mystery of the murder this time around was better than it was done in season 2. So I really enjoyed Only Murders in the Building season 3. I thought they came back to form in this season.
Yeah, I really like the first 2. I haven't seen the third yet. Jacob has. It's on my list to watch, but I like the fact that it's a concept that's kind of been done a lot, but it still is the best version of it. Like this whole idea of murder mystery and having a podcast, there's heaps of shows doing that, but
yeah,
Only Murders in the Building seems to keep it fresh and fun. I don't know if
I
it's
feel
the
like
cast,
what the difference with Only Murders is that it's the whole show. I feel like other shows is an episode about a murder mystery with a podcast, but that's like literally the whole gimmick of the show, and it's so cozy. Like you just watch it, you snuggle up, you can just
that's a good way of putting it too.
It's not super commitment or nothing. It's not too heavy. It's not a bunch of lore and you got to read a book.
Yeah.
So,
And I love Steve Martin and Martin Short's sense of humor. So like to see those two guys every week on a show, like it's great. I love it.
I guess it's almost
surprised me.
A comedy first before a drama, where the other ones are usually drama first. So it's easy to watch, and I think it's good quality.
Yeah.
What do you got at number 4, Zach Attack?
Number 4 for me is Superman Lois season 3. Big fan of the show. Love it. Been telling people to watch it forever and ever. Thank God it got renewed for one more season so they could wrap it up. But I think season 3 did a great job of balancing the CW-ness of it because it's on CW, obviously. So, they're going to be some message heavy theme going throughout. And this time it was dealing with Lois getting cancer, but that was like tied directly into the villain. And I think that this season had the best, one of the best finales of this year that I've seen so far out of all the shows I've seen, because they introduced Doomsday and they figured out a way to do like a movie level fight on the CW for Superman. And it blew me away when they executed that. So I really, really love this show as a Superman fan.
Okay, I've only seen an episode or 2 of it, and I thought the CGI looked really bad, and I was like, but I just saw this weird scene where he's like chasing this guy that was like had super speed and he's like laser in a train. I was like, that looks so fake, but I guess I didn't get enough of a chance. But it is a TV show; they can't go overboard with the CGI.
And it's on CW.
Yeah,
it's not HBO Max.
Is it pretty connected to the Arrowverse? Because I've been meaning to get on that show, but the big thing for me is I jumped off the Arrowverse quite a while ago, and it just feels like I can't jump back into a show that's part of it.
It's not a part of the Arrowverse. Like it kind of is, but they kind of just ignore it completely. There's no mentions of any other heroes. Like maybe one time they said something about the Green Arrow, but it is something like where it's like, oh, we're like beside the Arrowverse and we can jump between. So that's kind of
interesting.
More standalone. Yeah.
Okay. Well, at number 4, I've got The Bear season 2. I've seen a lot of people online put this show up highly. I don't know how to describe it because it's kind of a show about not much, but it is at the same time. I feel like you've got to really enjoy cooking and, maybe even have worked in a kitchen to really get it. But it seems to be liked universally. So when I first watched it, I was like, who does this appeal to? And the answer seems to be everyone. But I don't know why that is, but I just think it was really good. I liked how the second season we got to see the outside lives of each characters, where, other shows are real drama heavy. Like this character's fighting with this one and this one's sleeping with this one. This show wasn't that. It was about their kind of outside problems and how that affects them in the kitchen. And I just thought that was a different perspective on a show. Most shows don't do that. but they are starting to add the relationship and drama stuff towards the end of the season. So, well, the show they wouldn't have anything to write about if they didn't. So, I thought it was really good. I don't know how many seasons The Bear has in it. Maybe a third, if that. But
I think it already got renewed.
yeah, I know they're renewed for a third, but I don't know where they go in the third season. They've started their restaurant. They have some dramas within it, but what does a fourth season entail without it getting into drama, like heavy drama between characters, which is not what it's been doing so far.
Yeah.
So I really like The Bear season 2.
Hot take. I actually think The Bear is not as good as season 1, season 2, because when I was watching it, there was one scene when the main female character was eating food all day and she had the same clothes on. For that scene, that just took me out of the season.
Yeah,
That one detail.
Yeah, she couldn't get a hold of the main character to go and taste food, so she went to every single restaurant and ate like full meals everywhere.
How could you afford that?
Yeah.
So for me, I back to it.
That is hilarious.
I know what episode you're talking about too. I'll be talking about The Bear a little bit later, but that's hilarious. I love that.
I love Bear season 1, but I haven't got to see season 2 yet.
I don't know if I like season 1 more than season 2. It's hard because I feel like they're very different. Like
what happened to the money that they had as well? Like they're broke in season 2, even though they got money in season 1.
No, they used the money to start the restaurant. That's how they do it. They spent it. And they had to borrow more.
It is expensive to start a restaurant.
Yeah, they only had like
Imagine.
100 and something grand. They needed several million to get this thing going. But yeah, they spent it pretty quick. But I think it's cool. Okay, what do you got number 4?
My number 4 is a show on Paramount Plus called Rabbit Hole with Keith Sutherland. And this show is definitely a rabbit hole with conspiracy theories. Who can you trust? Keith Sutherland losing his mind of seeing different things and finding the man that's actually the person in charge. This has been one of the best season 1s that I've seen this year. And hopefully it got renewed for a season 2 because it ended on a cliffhanger, and that's why it's number 4. Because if it did not, not good indeed, but amazing show.
I decided to Google it for you because I was like, well, Rabbit Hole? Oh, Keith Sutherland, my mom would love this. And then I saw it got canceled. Sorry.
Oh, unfortunate.
That sucks.
But, I know. But still, I heard it's really. I had never heard anything bad about that show. I saw the trailer; it looks good. It's Keith Sutherland. And
Does
then,
the
I don't know.
first season still end in a way that you could just go, well, that's it? It's a one season, or is it on a cliffhanger?
It does, but you still don't find out who the main person was that they were going after. He kind of always had people being the person that he was.
See, I hate it when you hear that. A show that was good, but now you know it's cancelled. There's no point in ever watching it. I feel like it's just wasted time.
Especially if it's not complete.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's disappointing. So what do you got, Zach M, at number 3?
At number 3, little bit of an odd one out there, but my wife and I, we were obsessed with it. We could not stop watching this. Squid Game: The Challenge.
Oh,
okay.
The reality show that they did of Squid Game.
Yeah.
I've seen clips of Squid Game, but I've never seen the whole show. So I kind of know what some of the games and stuff look like. And I thought that this challenge show, even without and this is one of the benefits too, is without seeing Squid Game, it just works really well as a reality show on its own. It is so filled with drama. It is so compelling. It is so tension filled. It is so stressful. The way that because there's 456 players, and the way that they're able to keep a flowing narrative between people, you get attached to people, and then the show with no mercy just gets rid of them, and it's like a gut punch, the way that they get you attached to these characters, and then they can go at any moment. It is so exciting. It's thrilling. It's a reality show, but it feels like you're watching a fiction narrative show in some way. And maybe you are. It's reality TV. But anyways, the way that it was done, I thought it was done very, very well. My wife and I enjoyed the heck out of it. We binged the whole thing in 2 days. It was phenomenal.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't seen any Squid Game related stuff. Obviously, it was massive when it came out. People dressed at Halloween as characters from Squid Game, and it was everywhere, and all the memes came out. But yeah, I never saw it, but I don't get into reality TV, but I love the idea behind it. Like there's a TV series, I can't think of what it is, but it shows behind the scenes of like a Bachelor style TV show. And I really enjoyed what I saw of that. But yeah, as you're talking about getting attached to the narrative, there would have been, directors hassling people saying, you need to argue with this person.
Oh yeah, probably.
And it's all scripted, but it's still good to watch. So
It's really entertaining. I would recommend giving it a shot. It was really
and it got renewed. So
yes, we're very excited over here at the Milne House.
Very cool.
So Zach, you like shows when main characters died, kind of like Game of Thrones?
No, I've actually never seen Game of Thrones.
Oh, we gotta defer which Zach we're talking about.
Oh, sorry.
Answer.
Zach M.
You can call me Talks, and he can be Attack.
Okay.
Zach Talks.
There you go. But yeah, no, I haven't seen Game of Thrones. I haven't seen those shows.
Okay.
Well, okay. So Zach, Attacks. What do you got at number 3 now?
Number 3, Last of Us. Really, really enjoyed this show. I'm a huge fan of both games, and I think they did a really good job adapting it. It was just great watching it week to week, talking to people about it. It's been a long time to have a show that's like a water cooler show. That used to be The Walking Dead for me, and then it kind of like faded out towards like the middle of the season of that show. And then I never got onto Game of Thrones, so that wasn't a water cooler show for me. So for this one, for something that like I played and I lived in and multiple times, for it to be brought to life in a way that was of quality and taken seriously, I really, really enjoyed it. And I just love zombie stuff too. So we haven't had a lot of zombie content recently. We used to get like 4 movies a year, and now we get like a straight to PVOD terrible zombie film now once a year.
Yeah.
So it was great to see quality zombie content. Yeah. And I love Pedro Pascal. So
I think it's interesting you just said that you didn't get into Game of Thrones. This would be what, like the only collection of YouTube reviewers where none of us really liked the Game of Thrones.
Oh, really?
I tried. I turned that first episode on like 7 times and I fell asleep each time. And I was like, yeah, I don't usually fall asleep during stuff. So it just means it's just not for me.
Yeah, I turned it on. I watched maybe like 5 minutes of the first episode.
I watched 1 season.
And I saw them like coming in on a horse. And I was like, that's it. I don't know what is. I hate shows with horses. I'm like, I'm not watching this. Like something about it. I'm like, this is going to be crap.
Your hot take today is hilarious. Horses in, I'm out.
Yeah.
Zach Attacks, do you feel like they rushed the show and they should have had more episodes?
Oh yeah, 1000%. When I did my live spoiler review about that was like my main issue. The fact that it felt like, especially if you played the game, the stories, like so much is missing. Especially since they decided to take some creative liberties and make up stuff that wasn't in the game. I'm fine with that because you're adapting. You don't want it to be 1-to-1. But if you're going to do that, give it enough episodes so you can adapt parts of the game that we want to see. So,
how many episodes do you think you would have liked? Maybe 3 extra, 12 episodes?
I think 12 would have been fine. The show probably is expensive, but it didn't look that expensive. It wasn't like a bunch of explosions or VFX and CGI. A lot of it was practical, and they didn't have a bunch of zombie stuff happen every episode. So they could have gave us 3 more episodes.
So at number 3, I've gone with Ted Lasso season 3. So Ted Lasso, really solid show. Like it's hard to dislike it. Like it's not amazing, but it has almost no flaws, or its flaws are what makes it good. It's just Ted's so happy. The hero doesn't always win, but they kind of do in the end. Positive message. Even the characters that annoy you, Ted forgives, and it just always works out for it's just one of those shows that's just uplifting and family friendly. Everyone can watch Ted Lasso. So
yeah,
I thought they ended it pretty well, and I would have liked to have seen more, but Apple like to do this 3-season thing. I think they fear pushing something too long and worrying that it will get burnt out. So they kind of cut things at 3 seasons. So I don't mind. It was overall easy watch, and I'd watch it over again for sure.
And I think the actor was done playing the role as well.
Yeah, well, Jason Sudeikis, he's in pretty high demand. There's lots of other people that want him for different things. So, yeah, Ted Lasso season 3.
I totally forgot that season came out this year. Like as soon as you said that, I was like, "Crap! I meant to watch that." Like, I really enjoyed the first 2 seasons, but that one slipped through the cracks.
Yeah, it's just such a
Yeah.
wholesome show. Like the show episodes are 20 minutes long. They're real quick. There's no filler episodes. The jokes are pretty basic. They're almost like dad jokes, but they're funny because that's the character. That's exactly what he is. So it just works. And yeah, I can't think of anything to really dislike about Ted Lasso.
Yeah, I've
For
only
someone
heard good
that's
things
not
about
a
Ted
fan
Lasso.
for someone that's not a fan of soccer, it got me engaged in wanting to watch it and enjoy soccer a bit more.
Would you say you liked it more because it was light-hearted, or you actually liked the story?
I think the story was cool. This idea that someone was, successful in coaching NFL at a college level, and they're like, well, we should get him over, but at the same time, the motive was we want to sabotage this team. We're going to bring him over so our team fails because I hate my ex-husband and he loved this team and I want to ruin it. And then in the end, she's not a villain. And I think the story's pretty cool, and it showed that he could get success out of players through improving their personal life and improving them how they work as a team. That it's not all about actually knowing the game. Sometimes knowing the players and how to get them to work better together works, which in the long run probably won't work in professional sport. But you assume that he had other people helping, and the character, the Beard, was the one that knew. He was the tactician, and he did all the reading, and he knew about the game plan. So I know, I buy it. I think it worked well. And ultimately, they didn't really win anything, so it's fine. Like if they went on to be the best team ever and win everything, you'd go, "Oh, no way!" But they didn't. They didn't really win anything in the end. They got relegated most of the time. So it was quite cool. What do you got at number 3?
My number 3 is kind of the opposite as Zach, The Last of Us as well, but I'm someone that had not played the game. I actually played the game from watching the show first. When I was watching it, I actually thought it was the best show ever, and then I kind of took a hiatus because of personal reasons, and then I came back to it, and then they chose to do more solo stories and then of focusing on the story, and then I still really enjoyed it, but the ending felt very rushed. It felt like they got to a point when we saw that animal and then we rushed through time, and then they should have kept going with it. But still, The Last of Us is one of the best shows, and definitely looking forward to season 2.
Yep. And they already got renewed for season 3. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
Awesome. Yeah, and the new game, or they remastered the second game for PS5 that's coming out shortly. I love the game.
Spending that $10.
Yeah, it's like I love the game, but I don't know if I want to play it again. It's a bit soon. And I didn't realize it didn't already come out on PS5. Like, I swear I played it on PS5. I must know.
You might have, but it was a PS4 game.
Yeah, okay. So, I don't know. They've remastered the first one so many times now that I think I've completed it 3 times on 3 different consoles.
Every time a new PlayStation comes out, it has to be a tradition that they remaster the first one. Like if PS6 comes out and they don't do Last of Us remastered again, I'm gonna go to Sony and be like, look, you got us on this path. You got to continue.
Okay, so we're up to number 2. What do you got, Zach Talks?
For number 2, I got Loki season 2. I thought that this season of Loki was probably the best thing Marvel put out this year. No, Guardians Volume 3 was still out there. But it was one of the best things that Marvel put out this year. I really enjoyed Loki Season 1, but I thought Loki Season 1 was almost a little bit too ambitious for its own, like with the TVA and everything that was going on. I didn't always grasp the concept of it. It was always a little bit too far out there for me, even though I enjoyed the season. What I liked about season 2 is it felt like they scaled back a bit. They focused on a central group of characters. We still got Loki and Mobius in there. They added a couple more. And this season just felt more focused to me. There was a central problem that they needed to fix. And that's what this whole season was about, as well as going through the character arc of Loki to where he ends up at the end of the season, which I don't think we're doing spoilers in this, so I won't give that away. But I really liked where they ended Loki and where he's at the end of this season. I enjoyed the addition of Jonathan Majors as Victor Timely. I thought that he was a really fun character to include. I enjoyed just like all the goofiness and craziness of it. Miss Minutes being horny as heck was amazing in ways I never expected. It was so funny. It was I just had a ball with this. It had some darker moments as well for the show, which really worked for me as well. I really just thought that this was a great companion piece to season 1, made season 1 even better retrospectively in my mind. And yeah, I really enjoyed watching this season. I thought they killed it.
Yeah, I thought it was solid. Jacob and I are reviewing of this kind of different. There's a big difference between the two. We both loved it, but we still gave really scores that were, had a fair gap between them. And my argument was,
interesting.
I thought it was a great show, but it's not for everyone. And Jacob sort of thought the opposite. He's like, no, everyone will love it. I'm like, you got to be pretty into the MCU to get this. Like, I really don't think I couldn't just give this to a random and they're going to love it.
My wife booked it out of the room in like halfway through the first episode. She was like, no. Oh, also, I can't believe I forgot Kiwi Kwan. His Obi, man.
Love him.
So great. I love that they added him to this season. He was a bright spot for sure.
He needs to be in Deadpool 3 immediately. But you're right though. Like people forget. Like I watched this stuff and my bubble popped when I realized like sci-fi stuff is not for everyone. Like time travel, multiverse, just sci-fi concepts. When you add that to anything, a lot of people just check out, even if the show is great. I was shocked that my mom watched the Arrowverse with me because it's so sci-fi heavy sometimes. And they talk about some like sci-fi like science crap that I don't even know if they understand it, but I think the human characters worked on that. But I really, really enjoyed Loki season 2 a lot as well.
Nice.
So Preston Reviews wrote, hey guys, can't stay here. I'm watching Godzilla 2014 and in a little bit
the holdovers.
Yes.
There you go.
Great
Preston,
film.
your life is about to get great.
Thanks for being here, Preston.
I think you guys will like the holdovers. I should check it out when you get a chance.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about it again later, but I thought with Loki, even though I loved it, if you hadn't already seen heaps of MCU content, you'd be like, I don't really know what they're talking about. And then as well, if you're not a fan of sci-fi, you go, and I also think you needed to be pretty switched on to understand. I thought it was pretty complex at times, the whole trying to wrap your head around time travel and how it all works. I just think your average viewer would just go, nah, not for me. Or, at least... if we go back to like Thanos, anyone can comprehend that. It's like, this guy just, like you can work that out. But once you get time travel and who's actually who and whose version of this are we watching? And,
even the whole idea of the TVA of there's this like authority in some kind of realm that controls the timeline that they're on. So like Iron Man happened because it was meant to happen. And it's just like, it completely almost implodes your perspective of what the MCU even is when you introduce the TV. And
they don't ground it enough. I'll say that. Even with the first 2 seasons, they don't ground that concept enough.
I can agree with that.
So I think those that love the MCU will go, wow, it kind of just makes it bigger and better. But if you're not really into it, you go, I can't grasp what's going on here. This is too much for me. I'll just check out.
Yeah.
So that was where we differentiated. What do you got, Zach Attacks, at number 2?
Number 2 is My Hero Academia season 6. I'm an anime fan. I love this show. It's slowly becoming one of my favorite animes of all time. And this season was nuts. So much happened during this season in terms of, and if you don't know what My Hero is, because I just realized I'm talking about it and you guys might not know. Basically, it's anime where I think 90% of the world has powers. And the main character is the one of the 10% that does it, but he wants to become a hero. And then he finds out his favorite hero, who's the number 1 hero in the world, actually didn't have powers either. He inherited it, and then now he has inherited his powers and starts training to become a hero. That's like the basic concept of it. But now that he's a hero, he's getting into the villain stuff, and we're starting to see like a lot of drama happening between everyone in terms of like, oh, this person's family member is a villain, and this person is tied to this person, and people starting to die, and it was just drama filled in a way that felt really good, and all the characters just grew up. It's the 6th season. Everyone just grew up in a way where you didn't even realize they were growing up in front of you. It wasn't until the end of the season I was like, oh my God, they're young adults now. And it's just a great show. And it's also because if you like the MCU, if you like DC, if you like that stuff, if you watch animated comic book shows, I think that it's an anime that anyone can get into. Okay. I can't recommend anime, like every anime to everyone, because anime has specific, it's weird. Like there's certain things that I just accept from anime that other people might not be able to, but I think My Hero is way more mainstream compared to other stuff. And I think you can get into it.
Zack Attacks, how many more seasons do you think My Hero Academia will have?
Probably 2 more at max,
Okay.
because I heard that the book that is based off is ending next year, so they're not going to have too much more to go off of. So
Because
probably 2
Attack
more seasons.
on Titan just finished.
What happened?
Attack on Titan just finished.
Yeah, Attack of Titan just finished. They
Not
took
gonna
very, very
spoil
long.
finishes.
It took very, very long. Season 4 was split up into 17 parts, I swear.
So at number 2, it kind of feels like unfair to put this in, but I put in season 16 of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Being the 16th season, it's got a lot of episodes that kind of get you hooked on the characters. So, but I really like Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's my favorite sitcom. Dark humor, not for everyone, but it's popular. It's the longest running live action sitcom. So obviously I'm not the only person that finds their humor funny, but I thought this was a pretty good season. Their seasons are getting shorter and shorter because obviously the actors are more in demand. They don't really need to make it anymore, but they do. But it was the episodes they brought out were typical in nature of what they'd had success in previous, like earlier seasons. I think a couple of seasons back, they experimented and now they went back to their kind of winning formula of just being absolute like bad people that you wonder how these guys just keep getting away with the crap they do and how they mistreat people. But it was a good laugh. And the last episode was, I know, a bit of a wild experiment, something different that they hadn't done. And I thought it was pretty funny and worked out well. So season 16 of Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
So for
I
this,
just started watching that.
Yeah.
so
on
for
season
this season to make the list, what made it better than the other seasons?
Oh, well, if I did this every year, the season would have made it. I think Always Sunny every
It's like it's that good.
would have continued. Yeah, it was just solid. Like if you like it, you like it. It's like, you know, if you're a fan of Friends, every year a new Friends season came out, you'd be like, well, that was one of my top 5s. Because it's a formula that works for you. So, and I think I like with Always Sunny in Philadelphia compared to other sitcoms, it's not leading anywhere. The characters aren't forming relationships with people. They're not having kids. They're not, you know, trying to pursue their careers. They just, every episode is kind of unrelated, not in an order. The only thing that keeps them in order is the characters get older and you see references to past jokes. But beyond that, there's no real particular sequence to this where, you know, in Friends, the characters started getting together and having lives and pursuing their careers. They don't. They just have this bar and they just do dumb things constantly. And I like it. It makes it very rewatchable. Kind of like The Office, but The Office did have some story arcs that went through it. But that's very rewatchable. Yeah, I think Always Sunny's rewatchable. And I was so happy now that it's on Disney, where it was really difficult to watch Always Sunny in Australia. Like there was hardly anywhere. It was on Amazon Prime for a little bit. And I binge watched the first, I think, 15 seasons on there because I hadn't seen it up until then. I binge watched the 15 in a row. And then when 16 came out, and I was like, oh, good, I can watch it like early, like it came out. Like I don't have to try and illegally find this or like try and on DVD. Like it was, yeah, it was on. It came out on Disney. I was so stoked. So very happy about that. What do you got at
Is it
2?
on the Star app for you guys?
Well, it's just Disney Plus. Yeah, like it's Disney Plus and Star.
Yeah,
too.
it's on the Star Plus here.
Okay, so that means it's probably on Hulu for me.
Yeah, we have like a combined thing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
They're doing that now. In April, Hulu and Disney Plus is going to be combining, so that will be our Star thing.
Yeah, so Hulu,
cool.
not yet here, but it is happening. But yeah, when you go onto it, it just says like Disney Plus and all the Star content's there. So
Yeah.
Which is cool. And Fox, there's lots of Fox stuff on there as well.
Yeah. Well, Disney bought Fox, so
yeah.
So they have everything.
That's why Always Sunny's on there because that was Fox. So
gotcha.
What do you
I've
got?
only heard great things about that show. Never heard one single bad thing. So
yeah, well, I think if you watch it, you're either gonna like laugh at it or you're gonna think this is so crude. Like
it's shock humor, a lot of it, from what I've seen in season 1, anyways.
Even the titles of the first season, the episode titles are like far out. Like they're like even racist, some of the titles. And you're like, how did this show get through? Like, how is it possible?
The first episode is like all about being racist.
Yeah, I think it's called The Gang. The Gang Gets Racist. I think that's the first episode.
It's crazy. It's their first episode. I couldn't believe it.
It's like the gang like solved the like Gaza crisis or something. They're like, this sounds like ridiculous. They have like these crazy names, but the history of the show, it was like kind of tanking and no one was really into it. They had a bit of a cult following. Then Danny DeVito came on board and then it just like skyrocketed. And he only came on board because his daughter was a massive fan. And he's the best character. He's so funny. Like he makes the show. Like this is perfect. So, yeah. Okay. Enough about Always Sunny. What do you got at number 2, Jacob?
My number 2 is on Apple TV Plus, and it is the Silo series that I just recently read the book of, and now that I've finished it, I have two brains about it. The person that has read the book and the TV show brain, and the TV show brain goes, this is the best show that I've seen all year. But the person that has read the book goes, well, they changed this detail. They gave a character a disease that he did not have in the book. But when they stick to the book, it's the best storyline that I've seen all year. But unfortunately, the TV show has changed the storyline and tried to do its own thing. But when it sticks to the storyline, it's the best storyline, and it got renewed for a season 2, and it ends on a cliffhanger. And it'll be interesting to see where they go, if they're changing things, and hopefully they stick to the material, and also changing characters that was male in a book into a female.
Is that the one with Rebecca Ferguson?
Yes,
I think
it is.
I
Julia.
I really wanted to watch it. My wife went ahead and watched it without me, and now I'm like, nah, it's gone now. You've watched it. I'm not gonna. She's like, I'll watch it twice. I'm like, nah, you know what's happening. I'm not gonna watch it with you. You're gonna spoil it. So just give them a miss.
the sin. How could she?
Yeah. But yeah, I've heard really good things about Silo and Apple TV. They hit big hits and a couple of misses, so they tend to do it well when they do it.
Yes.
Yeah, very exciting. I'd like to see it. But back to what you're saying about the books, I feel like not always, but when you convert a book to a movie, you're always going to compare it, and the comparison never works out well. So I just don't read. Just don't read. Or if you read, don't watch the movie.
That's the hot take of the day.
So many people complain about Harry Potter and say, "Oh, well, it's not as good as the books." Well, I just didn't read the books because the movies were awesome. So, like, if you don't read the books, the movies are perfect. So just don't read the books.
I think for the Harry Potter show, they should adapt the book more.
Yeah,
that's their
the
plan.
show has more episodes. You said that's the plan?
Yep, 1 season, 1 book.
Nice.
Going to be
I love
good.
Okay, so what? We're at number 1. Here we go.
Number
What
one.
do you got at number 1? Zach talks.
I have The Bear season 2 at number 1. Another show that my wife and I just love to watch. It's just so, again, kind of stressful. Like, just everyone's constantly yelling and there's always so much tension. But what's great about the show is that it never loses the focus of the characters. It's a great character drama with great character, great connections. And I feel like season 2 really fleshed out, like you were saying before, showing more of their lives outside of just the restaurant. There was a lot more fleshing out of these characters, I thought, in season 2. There was some just phenomenal episodes, like the Christmas episode with Jamie Lee Curtis popping up in there as the mom, and that whole episode was just jaw-droppingly good. So well written. It's incredible. Yeah, I'm blown away by the show. I love it. From an acting standpoint, filmmaking standpoint, there were moments in the show in season 2 and in season 1 where it's like that's gonna be the next like monologue that all the actors do in acting school. Like there's just so many phenomenal performances, and the writing's just so good. Yeah, it's been my favorite show this year that I've watched. Of the limited stuff that I've seen.
So good. Like I love Jeremy Allen White. Like the Shameless is my favorite drama TV series of all time, and Lip was my favorite character in it. And I think this show is almost an extension of that. I like to imagine that's as Lip got a bit older, he became a chef because he kind of plays himself. Have you seen Shameless?
Yeah.
Have you watched the show Shameless?
I have not.
Okay, so
it pops up in my YouTube shorts. If you guys get through that, like you go on YouTube Shorts and like they show you episodes of TV shows.
That's
like
why I started watching Always Sunny.
Yeah. And it was Shameless for a while, so I was just watching Lip's journey. I'm like, okay,
Yeah, so his character, obviously they're not like the same, but he talks the same, he acts the same, and
He looks the same.
Yeah, it feels like it could be an extenuation of the same person, ignoring the fact that we now know his family, and it's clearly not the same family, but
Yeah.
Right.
it's very similar, and I like it. I'm looking forward to his movie with Zac Efron coming out. Getting
Yeah,
to
the
see
Iron
him
Claw.
play different again. So he's a good actor, really good actor.
Yeah.
What do you got? Zac Attacks at number 1.
My number 1 show is Attack of Titan final season. Jacob brought it up recently. I think Attack of Titan, because they stuck the landing this season, is now my favorite anime of all time.
Did you like the ending? Because a lot of people didn't.
I like the ending. It was happier than I expected, because this show has been dread and drama and darkness and taking your soul every single episode for 8 years of my life. But it ended on a happier ending, and it made sense. It wasn't like, oh, we found a way to get to the happy ending, but it didn't make any sense with what they were setting up. I think that this show just touches upon a lot of things I like. Like I said earlier, I love zombie stuff, and the Titans are kind of like giant zombies. I love sci-fi stuff, and this has like in the beginning of the series, it didn't have heavy sci-fi aspects, but later on, it came in and kind of started explaining stuff. Yeah, the show growed. The characters growed really well, and I love a show where the good guy, like the main character, is like the good guy, and then they turn bad and they're all the villain. It just blows my mind when you're able to execute. Like, I love this guy, and then you be like, oh no, you got to kill him now. He sucks.
What was your
There's
favorite?
only 2 anime I've seen that have done that. What happened?
What was your favorite opening of Attack on Titan?
Oh, the opening. Probably still the first one. I still really like that first song.
Not the rumbling.
All the openings and then the closings are really, really good. The songs are really good.
What about the rumbling?
The rumbling. So I have mixed feelings. So I don't, Zach,
Okay.
You probably don't know what Attack on Titan is, but
Nope.
basically it's like,
You don't know what the hell we're talking about.
I thought it was that Justice League, the kids, but
like this country that was together, and then they got split because of like royals bloodline stuff.
Yeah.
And we're following the people who lost, basically, and they don't. This is like generations after they lost, so they have no idea what happened. They just know they're behind this wall, and there's monsters on the other side of them. And if they go over there, they get eaten. And that's basically what it is. And the show progresses crazy. So the rumbling is something where one of the characters, that's the main characters that's behind the wall, learns how to control the Titans. And he's like, I'm just going to use them to kill every single person that's not behind this wall.
Oh.
So it was like basically genocide. So when it first happened, I was like, yeah, kill everyone, because I just spent 6 seasons of them being tortured by everyone that's not outside the wall. But then when I actually saw what was happening, I was like, oh, this is babies and children and women that have nothing to do with any of this. This is not as great as I thought it was. But at the same time, it's like, if they don't do this, they're going to do it to them. So it's a complicated show where it makes you really think about stuff.
I like that.
Yeah, I think you would enjoy it. I think it's another anime where like it just feels like it's very cinematic. It's very colorful. They have English voice acting that's actually decent. And the story is so deep that it blew me away. So Hunter x Hunter used to be my favorite anime of all time, but since that never finished, this just topped over it. I loved it.
Wow. All right.
I feel like for someone that doesn't watch much anime, that there's so much good stuff out there that have really, good storylines, but if you're a casual anime fan, you only hear about your Pokemon, your Dragon Ball Z, like those ones that become mega famous, and you just think everything's silly and childish for kids. But then there's these really high quality animes that are definitely for adults that you just don't hear about.
Yeah. Oh, I would never tell a kid to watch this.
No.
Nightmares for days.
10 years old.
You said that again?
Aaron, when Aaron is 10 years old, he kills someone because he's protecting Mikasa.
Yeah, when he was like 10 years old, he saw a Titan swallow his mom whole. Like, that's not something I would want to show a kid. I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Jacob got me to watch Castlevania, and I was like, wow, I didn't realize like like just some of the stuff they talked about in the first 2 or 3 episodes
It's
was
very religious.
yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, well, like anime can have a lot more to it. I guess I've been
Oh,
so
yeah.
like single-minded, just thinking, oh, it's Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, and
Yeah.
just ridiculous stuff. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of cool things.
But I
out
feel like
there.
that happens with all the genres outside of even anime. Like there's like deep, nice shows that are like really adult, but it's the ones that are like kiddish or like not written that great that are the ones that everyone watches. So
Yeah. Okay, so at number 1, I got The Last of Us, which has already been spoken about quite a lot. Massive fan of the show, massive fan of the games, and the reason why I put it number 1 is because it didn't disappoint. It's something you've been talking about for ages. Hugh Jackman was going to play the main character. For many years ago, they talked about like,
And then Matthew McConaughey, I looked up, was originally they wanted him to play the role.
yeah. So they changed it. It's been rumored for so long to the point I'm like, this is never going to happen. And then when they said it was, I was like, well, you know what? The only thing that can happen now is we're going to be disappointed. They're going to bring it out and you're going to go, oh, I wish they didn't do it. And it didn't. It didn't disappoint. Yes, it could have been longer. There was definitely a lot of things missing, but I liked that they explored different characters or gave some backstories to side characters that in the game you only got to see them cross paths, but then you got to experience and see their lives. Thinking of, I think was it the 3rd or 4th episode where there was the same-sex couple males that
was episode 3.
that had their gave a backstory to them, and I thought that was really cool to see something a bit different. And yeah, like I can't really. The only criticism for the show is I wish it was longer, and I think that's the sign of something good when you watch it and you want more. So it's hard to criticize something because you want more. That just means it was good. So yeah, so that's my number 1.
So with my number 1, do people want to have a guess of what it will be?
I know what it is.
It's
The
like
Green Guy.
Actually, I guess what it was. It's so obvious in Loki.
why it's Loki season 2 is, for me, that ending was such a solid way for the character to go for his 14-year journey, such a patriotic way for character development. And as a season, I agree with Zach talks, it was more of a thriller compared to a mystery. Season 1 was more of a mystery, but with season 2 we got such a realizing that Victor Timely and He Who Remains was so different roles, and He Who Remains is such wonderfully played by Jonathan Majors, and hopefully he stays as Kane the Conqueror pending on his trial. But Loki season 2 was the best television I've seen all year, and even though I would love there to be a season 3, I guess we'll still see Loki in Secret Wars and in different movies. But such a wonderful way to end the character, and in my opinion, the best show of the year.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, we won't go into the movies yet. Let's
Yeah.
talk a bit more about shows. Any honorable mentions or shows that surprised you, even if they didn't make the list? Ones you're like, wow, I didn't expect much of this and it blew me away. Or ones that just missed the list? Either one of the two.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
2.
Okay, you
Loki
go first.
season 2. Loki season 2 just missed the list. I mixed feelings on it. I think the first 3 episodes are weak. I think the last 3 episodes are amazing. So that's kind of why I don't put the whole season up, because I think that the other shows that I have stronger episodes throughout. But that ending is so beautiful.
What
and
was
then like
the 3 first episodes that, in your opinion, made it weak?
Hey,
it just felt meandering at the time.
Okay.
Obviously retroactively, when you see what happens in the last 2 episodes, like, oh, okay, I get why we were doing this. I just wish it was just more exciting. The Victor Timely stuff when they're in the past didn't really work for me that much. I was kind of like, okay, I really want to get to the main plot. I don't really care about Victor Timely selling fake stuff. Which is fine. I still like the character. It's not bad. It just was like, this is okay. None of the episodes were bad.
You preferred it when we got to see He Who Remains instead of Victor Timely.
Yeah, because Jonathan Majors' He Who Remains in this season was so good. Like,
Yeah.
that blew my mind. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I knew all this was gonna happen." I was like, "What?"
I was kind of
How
hoping
could you?
Victor Timely was He Who Remains. Like, I know he kind of is, but I was hoping that that was the story of how he got to be He Who Remains. Like, he invented the first, thing that allowed him to time travel and do what he needed to do. And then
Kind of
by
tied more
Loki
together.
going back, he started that trend, and then he restarted the cycle. And I know I was hoping that was going to be the case, but he was kind of right.
That seemed like what they were going for at first, but then they were just like, no, he's just a variant that he wants to take over. So
yeah.
And I think I got Invincible season 2. The reason why I don't have it higher is because it's not done. It was a part 1. And The Witcher season 3. The reason it's not higher is because I haven't finished it. I think I have 2 episodes left, so I didn't get to finish it in time. And then Ahsoka.
Nice.
Zach Talks, you got anything you missed?
I think I can go a different way and do Missed Opportunity, which was Secret Invasion for me. Because I was actually really enjoying Secret Invasion for the first half of it. I think the performances in it are really good. Like I think like Samuel Jackson, Don Cheadle, I think they all bring their A game. I think it had some really interesting concepts and ideas going for it that had me intrigued. It was just too rushed of a season, and the finale of it just kind of let me down. It wasn't very good. So if that had stuck the landing, that probably would have knocked off Ahsoka, but it just fumbled in too many places. But yeah, for the first half, I thought it was actually pretty decent, but fell off the edge.
Yeah, Jacob and I both really liked that. And we were hyped for it. We saw the trailer and we're like, this is going to be amazing. I personally think Secret Invasion is such a cool concept that you don't know who's who. And if you're talking to the real person. And I thought but I think once it got towards the end and using the serum of all the different superheroes' genes, that ruined. I think it could have went a different direction. I liked that it was about, if it could have been tactical warfare behind the scenes, getting in people's ears, infiltrating the wrong people or the right people to do the wrong things. But then once it got to that, I'm like, wow, why'd you go with that?
Yeah, I was super hyped for Secret. Sorry.
Even the whole thing with like they went into the battle at the end of Endgame and collected all the blood. What? How does that make any sense? They just like collected all the warriors' blood that was left behind, and they knew exactly who. They had Thanos' blood on date. I don't know. It was weird. I thought it didn't make any sense.
Like I just thought the concept of what they are refugees. They don't feel welcome. They can't be who they want to be.
That stuff I really liked. I really liked that stuff.
Someone wanting to stand up and say, nah, screw it. We're going to take this planet and we're going to do it we can't beat them with brute force. So we're going to infiltrate, the highest leaders, and we're going to start wars between countries until eventually there's no one left but us. And I was like, that's really cool. But then once you added in the crazy superpowers, I didn't need to go there. Really didn't need to go there.
I think they should have just really focused on what you're talking about. The refugee part and the spy part and the infiltration part. I think the main issue with Secret Invasion that it wasn't a secret throughout the show. Hey, Kenny.
Hey, man.
We knew who every Skrull was from like the second episode. And I think that was the biggest mistake that they made. It should have been a surprise every single time. Yeah. Oh my God, this person's a Skrull. Oh my God. Oh, but they didn't do that. They were just like, okay, here's all the Skrulls. We got to stop them. And it turned into like a basic story.
CGI fight at the end.
Well, I think the opening scene of the series, the way that the narrating over the top and like, you don't know who you can trust. You don't know who's who. And it was like, this is going to be so good. They've nailed this. And then just fizzled off. So it potentially could have been one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Yeah, it could have been one of the best, but
it was literally no one on Sam Jack's side that was a Skrull that was like, oh my God. Like they revealed that his wife was a Skrull too early. We should have.
They telegraphed on Cheadle as well, like way too much. They telegraphed that he was a Skrull.
Yeah, it was like, why is he acting like this? He never acted like this.
So the problem with Secret Invasion is that Nick Fury actually made the things worse for the Skrulls and then left.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm taking my and I'm out. I don't care that you guys get shot.
What about you, Jake? Do you have anything honorable mentions or disappointments or something that surprised you from the TV series this year?
Some that surprised me, what is on binge in Australia, I don't know what it would be in America or Canada, is based on a true story with the actress that plays Penny and is in
Kaylee Cuoco. I don't know how to pronounce the last name.
Yeah, the actress. She the concept is that she is pregnant and her husband need a plumber, and the plumber is the story is interesting. Now I won't spoil it, but there's murders happening, and
Podcast.
they start a podcast, but it's a really clever show and it's very entertaining.
That's on Peacock here. I just googled it.
Yeah.
This is on the
I'm gonna
top
look
of
it
my
up.
list of things I want to see.
You need to watch
And I
it.
feel like it's right up the alley of what my wife will like. So I feel like it's something we can watch together. But yeah, it's have to wait till Christmas is over. Christmas period's all Christmas movies, nothing else. For me. So we'll have to wait for that to finish.
And I'm really enjoying Modok Legacy of Monsters. It's really getting me excited for the next Godzilla movie.
Yeah, I've only heard good things about that show too.
For me, things that miss the honorable mentions would be, I said earlier that I would have liked to put limited series, but in my head, I just don't feel like it's fair because with a limited series, you know the start and finish, and it's an easy to make a complete product. So I don't think it's a fair comparison, but I really enjoyed the Beckhams, the doco series about David Beckham and his wife. His kids don't really feature in it much. I thought it was really cool. Again, for someone that's not a fan of soccer, I was kind of obsessed with it. I enjoyed it. I didn't realize how cool David Beckham is. So, yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. I liked that it also still – it got up to the point where – because he owns the Miami – I can't think of what the Miami soccer team's called, but they signed Lionel Messi, and that was like a massive thing in the world, and it actually shows up to that point. So I thought that was cool that they didn't like cut it off before you actually got to see a really big part in the story. So that was cool, and I really liked the Arnold documentary, but I don't know if that came out this year or last year.
Oh man, I wanted to watch that. And the Sylvester Stallone one, is that one out yet?
Yes, Sly.
Might
Yeah,
be.
Sly, yeah, I missed that one too.
But the Arnold one's awesome. Arnold Schwarzenegger is, regardless of the controversies that went through his life, he achieves like if he puts his mind to something, he just does it. Like that guy's a machine. So that was really cool. They broke into 3 parts. The first was about his bodybuilding career, then his acting career, and then the last part was about his as a being
politician.
being the governor of California.
Oh,
so
wow.
that was really cool.
Brilliant.
I enjoyed that a lot, and I liked another one was a limited series was the show about the Matildas, the Australian female soccer team that nearly won the World Cup. They finished 4th.
Yeah.
And yeah, that documentary and the impact that's had on female sport in Australia is massive. Like,
a lot of soccer
like
for
soccer
someone
a
who
lot.
doesn't
yeah, I'm
like
getting a bit
soccer.
obsessed with soccer suddenly. But yeah, what that documentary and like the Matildas in the World Cup have done massive for Australian sport and particularly women. Like they broke the record for the most watched live event in Australian history when they played one of their matches. And like, to be honest, women's sport isn't overly watched in Australia. It's pretty frowned upon. People don't really care. But the Matildas changed that. They changed that. So it's pretty. It is bigger than sport, like what they've achieved. So the documentary really, they did it really well. Where other doco series, like we talk about The Last Dance, did a review on that. It just could have been better. The way they ordered things was a bit wild, but this didn't. You know, it was just a nice sequence leading up to the World Cup. So probably not of interest unless you won like soccer and are Australian. But it was, in terms of quality, it was done really well.
Indeed.
Okay. Any other things you want to talk about TV before we move into movies?
I think that maxes me out.
Yeah, movies is where I can get into. I haven't been on TV this year that much, so
I have a question for you, Zach Attacks. Have you got into Vinland Saga yet?
It's on my list. I heard that people tell me that's a anime for me, so I'm definitely gonna watch it. Yes, it is.
It's made by the same people that made Attack on Titan.
You sold me. There you go. Thank you.
Well, and have you started Blackbird yet?
No. I'm going to watch
every
it.
single person I speak to. Blackbird.
I'm going to watch it.
I would recommend it to Zach Talks as well. Recommend it to you as well. I'm going to recommend it to everyone I talk to. If it was on Netflix, what more people would have watched it?
Well, it's so much to love.
It's on Apple TV.
Taron Egerton in it.
Yes.
So big star. It's got
Ray Liotta's in it.
It's got Yeah, Paul.
That's
How I can't pronounce his name, but yeah, Stingray from the Karate Kid. It's he. I don't know. Just it's limited series, true story, crime, murder, like it ticks so many boxes. So really good. Definitely watch that. So moving into movies. So this is your realm. I reckon Jacob watches more TV shows. That's his thing.
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
kind of in between the two. You guys obviously specialize in movies. So I reckon this list is going to be, I think there's going to be a lot of variation. I think we're going to get a lot of different movies in here.
Awesome.
So
I think we all
wanna
have different
start,
tastes, though.
Zach Talk?
Yeah.
What do you got at number 5, Zach Talk?
At number 5, I have Past Lives.
Past
You guys
lives.
heard of this one?
Yeah, is
Yeah.
that the Korean English
Yes.
/ film? Yeah.
Yes, it is. I believe it's a directorial debut as well from Celine Song, which,
Yes.
if it is, phenomenal introduction to her work. So this is one of those movies. It kind of comes once in a blue moon for me. I wouldn't say it's a romance movie very much. It's not like a romantic comedy or anything like that. It is a drama, but it's one of those movies where it's just like a slice of life. There's nothing really that movie about it. It just feels like real life. It's about these childhood friends that grew up, they grew apart, but there was always this kind of thought of, are we meant to be together? And they get reunited 20 years later. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the filmmaking, like Before Sunset, Before Sunrise, Before Midnight, those kind of
Trilogy.
movies where you're just kind of like a fly on the wall of these people's lives. They just feel real. The normal narrative stuff that you would get in movies isn't really applied here. For example, one of the couples ends up getting married, and you don't hate the person they're married to. Their life isn't crap because of the person, even though the movie is structuring it where it's like this person wants to be with this person. It's simply, that's just life. That's just how life goes. But it's so well written. It's so well acted. I thought it was very, very well done. And I was very enthralled and wrapped up in these people's lives and their stories. I thought it was a beautiful, just human story too, about closure, about regret, about choosing paths to go down in life and where that leads you to, and looking back being like, did I make the right choice going this way? But in the end, I went this way, and that this is my life. And that just those themes and the concepts that she pulls off throughout the story, I thought it's just great. And I did tear up by the end. I thought it was beautifully done.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I've only heard good things about this movie. It wasn't in our cinemas for very long, or it was only a kind of smaller indie art house cinemas. So I missed it, and then
Yeah.
it is on, I think it might be on streaming. I saw it the other day, but again, after Christmas, I think it might.
It's not for everybody, because it is bilingual. There's a little bit of English. There's a segment of English in it, but for the most part, it's in Korean. You have to read the subtitles in English. And my dad, for example, hated this movie. He thought it was so slow. He thought it was so boring, and he hated how it ended. And it was really funny to see him rant out about it. He said it was the worst movie he ever read. So
Wow.
for some people, it's not gonna hit, but for me, it was right up my alley. I really loved it.
Yeah, it didn't hit for me as hard as a lot of people, which surprised me because I was super excited because it was getting a lot of buzz from
Mhm.
like early in the year. I was like, yeah, this is A24. I love their kind of films and everything. And I watched it and I was like, oh, that was okay. And that's kind of how I came from it. But like when I tell people like, oh, it's okay, like you don't get it. And I'm like, okay, I guess I don't.
You don't get it is like the worst argument anyone uses against you, man.
Yeah.
Me too, Kenny. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Jacob.
It's probably going to be on HBO Max now that A24 has that deal.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. It's definitely a recommend for me, but like I said, go into it knowing that not everyone's gonna like it, and you might not. And I would understand why you would think it was just okay. I can totally understand that.
I feel like it'd be one of those movies where if you didn't know anything about it and you went into there not knowing, you go, wow, this is really good. But now everyone's talked about it. I'll go in there and
Yeah,
go,
it's the hype. It's the hype
"That's what
build up.
people said." I think it's probably overhyped now because as from what you've said, it seems like it is kind of like real and maybe a little slow, but you've got to invest in their lives and the story.
Yeah.
So if you go in there hyped, those things will disappoint.
Absolutely.
Where like an action movie, if you get hyped up and you're like, there's going to be explosions, like, oh, there was explosions. You're like, yes. Like you did
They're at
exactly
the bar.
what you said. So I just don't know if it works for that. I think maybe I missed the boat. What do you got, Zach Attacks, at number 5?
My number 5 film is Oppenheimer.
Good choice.
Really great film. I think it's one of the best films I've ever seen, honestly. 3 hours of people talking, but the most engrossed I've ever been in people just talking in my life. I do think the explosion was a little bit of a disappointment. You know, like they built up to so much. I was like, oh, that's it. That's like a regular explosion you see in Expendables 4. But but overall, the performances are amazing. On a technical level, it's flawless. This is the first Christopher Nolan film that actually hear all the dialogue. Cillian Murphy is amazing, and I think he's the front runner for best actor. I haven't really seen anybody to top him yet. Maybe Paul Giamatti from The Holdovers will match him, but other than that, I think he had more of a hard job than Paul Giamatti did. And I think the story is just a harrowing story of a man that had a belief, he did it, and then he figured out everything he was working out for his life just killed a bunch of people. And I think that's an amazing concept and like the basic way to talk about this movie, but there's a lot of detail and a lot of more other stuff in between as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I just don't know if I could watch it again because of the length. But I think if I did, I probably would still like it. So yeah, I thought it was, in terms
it's not rewatchable.
In terms of how it was made, like it's a masterpiece. Like, and I saw it in IMAX, which I don't know if it made it better or worse. Like, I felt immersed, but at the same time, I'm looking at this big head right in my face. And it was like, easy to watch. But it was. I think it was definitely an awesome movie.
Cillian Murphy's eyes stretch from the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen.
Just ice blue.
Yeah.
One of my friends went to go see it in 75mm, and it was a dust particle on one of the film, and it was just there the whole movie.
Oh,
like right in the middle of the frame.
No.
What do you think?
I enjoyed it. I was happy with Robert Downey Jr.'s performance, and the acting was superb. Someone's going to win an Oscar from it, but if you don't like acting, like I said with the last time Zach was on it, my 2 friends didn't like it. They were on their phones.
Well, it's long and you have to know a bit or have to do some research after, so it's not for everyone. But if you're a film geek, you're just like, wow, this is a style of film. Like this, how this is made is, they will teach this in classes in acting, in film and acting classes in the future. So you got to appreciate it for what it is. So at number 5, bit opposite to Oppenheimer, I've gone Barbie.
Okay.
I obviously came out the same time as Oppenheimer. I saw them not at the same time back to back, but I did watch them consecutive days. So I saw Oppenheimer first, then Barbie. I think Barbie has lots and lots of flaws, but it was hilarious and it's easy to recommend and it's not too serious. It has some really iconic moments and even songs and dances in it. It's just a really feel-good film. I've watched it maybe 3 or 4 times now. And yeah, I just think Barbie just deserves a mention. I think it was a film that I thought was going to be absolutely rubbish. There's no way this could be successful. And it's just broken all the records. Like, it is insane the things that it achieved. And it came up against Oppenheimer. That was its competitor and it smoked it really. So Barbie, insane how good a film about a doll could be. Even with the flaws it had in it, it was still so good.
That's funny. Barbie's my number 6, so it's like it just missed it.
Kenny Sparks wrote, Oppenheimer is well-made film for sure. Rewatchability is not its strong suit. So. Unless you got lots and lots of spare time.
Yeah.
So what do you got at number 5, Zach?
My number 5 out of everyone that has gone is probably the funnest movie to watch out of all the movies, and it is Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. When I saw it at the cinemas, I enjoyed my time at watching it. Just Chris Pine is playing the Barb, such an amazing character in the team. Really enjoyed it, and such the plot is not the best, but it gets the job done, and I really enjoyed my time with the movie. And I don't know if they're making a sequel, but really hope that they do. But if they don't, this is a really well-made Dungeons and Dragons movie, and I'm definitely a fan of Dungeons and Dragons. And going into the movie, my expectations were not as high, but when I came out, I thought that was the funnest time that I had at the cinemas.
I got to add a side note to that. You said it's the most fun movie. You have not seen Barbie. Then you refuse to watch Barbie,
No.
so you can't. You're ignoring the funnest movie of all time. So
I wasn't as big on Barbie as you guys appear to be.
I'm with Zach Talks. No.
yeah, but it's fun. There's no doubt. You
Well,
can't-
Zach Talks
Fun.
saw it, so you can't be with him.
you just
You
won't
can't be
watch
both with him if you didn't watch it. Dungeons
Kenny's
and Dragons
got some
2
more
is
comments.
going to happen, though.
He's got Barbie at 37. That's fair. I get it. I'm just saying. I thought it was fun. I
But
went
he
to
also
movies-
seen like 80 movies, so 37 is not that bad.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I was gonna ask out of what.
And Dungeons and Dragons was a pleasant surprise. I'll
Yeah.
talk about that later, but I think
Yeah, I'm
Dungeons
gonna
and
do
Dragons for me,
a top 10
surprised me.
most surprised movies of the year for me, and that's definitely gonna be on the list.
yeah, I didn't think it was anything of it. I saw the trailer, I'm like, this movie is going to be so bad.
Yeah.
And I walked, I was like, that's pretty good. This surprised me, really surprised me. So what? We're now at number 4. What do you got? Zach Talks.
At number 4, I got a movie that I finally caught up with the world. I saw Oppenheimer. I finally saw Oppenheimer. I have it at number 4. It's everything that Zach Attack said, and I won't spend too much time on it because we've already kind of talked about it. But the performances across the board were phenomenal. The filmmaking, phenomenal. The 3-hour runtime surprised me because I thought the movie was incredibly well paced. It did not feel like 3 hours to me. And even just on Blu-ray at home, it looks incredible. The dialogue is so well written. It's so enthralling, like Zach was saying. And the I think the couple things that keep it from going higher on my list is I do think that the audio track, the dialogue track is still a little bit low for movies. I did have to turn subtitles on because I just could not hear everything. And I do feel like the movie jumps through so many time periods
Mm.
back and forth a lot that there were a couple, like, it definitely needs a second viewing a little bit for me to stitch everything together in the right order, because I did get a little bit confused as to where we were a couple times. But other than that, I was impressed with it. Everyone who's been saying it since July, it's a great movie. It's awesome. It's my number 4.
And I think
Yeah.
some of the things that you said were a problem is stuff that I have with it too. But it's one of those things like it'll be fixed with a rewatch. It's not a like the movie's bad or something like that. It's
Yeah.
just like, I just got to rewatch it to catch things, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's like
Absolutely.
you just need to do a bit of research. It's like at the moment I'm watching Killers of the Flower Moon, and I'm constantly pausing it and researching, like, oh, what does it mean by restricted and unrestricted, and what does this mean? Like I'm looking up because if I don't know what it means, it doesn't make as much sense. So I feel like
I had
Oppenheimer.
an issue with that in that movie too.
Yeah, there's heaps of things in there that like you're like, oh, I don't. And
Can
if
you
you
explain
get
this to me in the movie?
really, it's a bit more. So Dark's movie says, "What's up?"
Hey, what's going on, man?
He clarified
Dark-
that it was 37 out of 53, so it was
Okay.
very low.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we had that conversation. We had a whole live stream where we debated about Oppenheimer and Barbie.
Yeah.
And it was just like he doesn't like it.
So what do you got? Zach Attacks at your number 4.
My number 4 is a movie that just came out in the last couple of weeks. It's called Dream Scenario. Starring Nicolas Cage. Is a A24
that.
film where Nicolas Cage plays this mild-mannered man. He's a teacher. He's like the most boring guy you can imagine. And for some reason, one day he just starts popping up in everyone's dreams.
Oh.
And he doesn't know why. It doesn't like he has superpowers or anything. It just starts happening, and he becomes famous because of it. And like it shows like the positive and negative of that. And the movie is just really funny. It's so funny. It's really well written. One of the best scripts that I've seen all year. And I think that this is one of Nicolas Cage's best performances he's ever given. He does
There you
such a fantastic job playing this character. I think he fully understood the assignment here of being this goofy dad that doesn't want to be famous, but he's trying to take advantage of the new fame so he get his little thing off the ground that he wants to do that no one cares about. It's just everything that it does is like the allegory to like cancel culture and gossip and all these different things that it did. I just thought it was an amazing film. Like I left that film and I was like, wow. And it was so good that the people because I went to the movie by myself, there were people in the showing that was like, yo, that was so good. And we had a conversation about it. Like usually I watch a movie and I leave. I'm out. Like, okay, let me go process my thoughts so I could do this review. But like I wanted to sit there and talk to people about it. I talked to strangers about it. It was so good.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it, but it sounds cool. And the fact you said it was funny, that's got me hooked. I like
Yeah,
comedy.
it's really funny. Some of the funniest scenes I've seen all year.
I wonder when it comes out in Australia.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. I haven't seen it
Tomorrow?
yet.
It's available. Like I can see it now, apparently. Okay. Interesting.
He's like, oh, it came out.
I'll go watch it now. Okay, so we're up to me. So number 4, I went with Hunger Games, the Ballad of the Song and the Snake. Yes, there's some plot conveniences. Yes, there's some flaws in it, but I was engaged the whole way through it. I love that you're rooting for a villain. In the beginning, I liked that it wasn't just, oh, okay, well, they run off together, the happily ever after love story. It flipped the switch on that. I just thought I thought it was nice to see something different. I've tried to, in my top 5 this year, go with things that surprised me or were just not the same generic movie. And I think this did it. And I don't know if I was the only dumb person that went in there that didn't realize who the main character was and who he grew up to become. I was just like completely oblivious. And at the end, I was like, oh, that's right. He's the villain in the other movies. So it kind of, I think it worked because I wasn't there going, oh, okay, when does he turn bad? When's he turn bad? I was like, oh, yeah, this guy's a nice guy. I like him. And then, oh, okay, I got it now. So I thought it was a cool experience. Hunger Games.
Yeah, I love that movie. I'm so glad that you put this high up on your list because what you're saying is like we're rooting for the villain. But when you retrospectively look at the film, it's like every good thing he did was selfish. So it wasn't like he was a hero in a way where it's like, oh, I'm unselfish and I'm doing this for the greater good. He's like, no, I'm trying to do this so I get my family out the hood.
Yeah, and it's
basically.
And I think it sets up really well for the Hunger Games. And I think you can watch it in either order. But I think now, if you've never seen the Hunger Games, maybe watch that first. And I like that the Hunger Games, because we see it in the original series, all about showing off, and Katniss Everdeen's the girl on fire and she comes in on her chariot and it's a spectacle. And then in this, it's like, no, the Hunger Games really barbaric. It's dying off. People don't care. They think it's wrong. Let's get rid of the Hunger Games. And he's like, no, let's make it a spectacle. Let's make it big again. And then we see where it goes. So it's like, he's like pure evil. Like not only did his dad start it, people were like over it. And he's like, no, let's make it big again.
Let's make it worse.
Yeah, because he wants to get rich. So it's it's a pretty cool story. Yeah, I really, really liked it. So what do you got at number 4, Jacob?
Conveniently, it's the same as that. Well, the Hunger Games and the Ballad of Songbird and Snake. But it's for different reasons. For me, as a prequel movie, this would have to be the best prequel movie that I've seen. But there are some negatives to that. For me, part 1 and part 2 are amazing. Really enjoyed the journey of seeing President Snow, his downfall. But unfortunately for me, and this is clarifying the comment that I made to you, Zach, is that the unfortunate thing is that part 3 feels very rushed, and that's why I think the first ending is better, because if we got out of the movie, they could have shown his eventual demise into villainhood a lot better, because the movie feels rushed, and then when we eventually see him, shoot the gun and then he just instantly becomes a villain, it doesn't feel as justified compared to, I would assume in the books they do a better job. So for me, I think the first ending would have been better, even though I'm a person that hates cliffhangers, but I think for this it would have been such a he's been sent to District 8 at the time, but he says, send me to District 12. I just think it would have worked there because it would have been able to show you, because that's the main point of the movie, is to show that why he becomes a villain. And then to me it didn't work as much, but still well worth being in the top 5. It's a epic movie, but I have some problems with it. And other thing is that this movie is a bigger book than the Hobbit book, but the Hobbit book got 3 movies and this only gets 1.
I reckon that's
That's
what
true.
held back from being number 1 for me. The fact that they skipped the internal monologue and showing him kind of flip the switch and become evil. Yes, if you rewatch it, you'll see it, but it was a bit subtle. But I think if you had 2 parts, I wouldn't have liked as much. I think that's what makes it cool. They didn't try and drag it out and just be money hungry, you know.
Well, the
Think-
director said that he was going to make this into 2 parts, but because of the bad response from Mockingjay Part 1 and 2, he's like, nope, I'm doing everything in this one movie, because people were mad about him separating Mockingjay into 2 different movies. So I think that's what happened.
Well, I liked that they did that differently for once, but then you see the flip side of things. You miss out on parts. Sometimes you
Yeah.
need films, but
Honestly,
then
the movie could have been like 10 minutes longer to add all that stuff that you wanted.
Yeah.
Like when I was watching the movie, I was like, I don't want to leave yet. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
have to end. I don't feel like the movie feels so long that it's like, okay, you know, it's not Killers of the Flower Moon where I'm like, okay, this movie's pretty long. We're getting towards the end, and I'm only an hour and a half in. Holy crap.
Yes.
Like I was 2 hours and 30 minutes into this movie, and I was like, give me more. And it was like, oh no, we're ending now. I was like, okay.
Well, yeah, it's one of the rare movies that is long that I'm not, because I complain about length of movies. I hate long
All the
movies. And I'm like, come on. I was like, I wanted more. I even had, I timed it out, but I had a dinner reservation to get to, and I was starving. I'm like, yeah, but I want more movie. Like, keep going, which is like not like this. What do we got, Preston? My top 5 runner-up is Hunger Games, Songbird and the Snake. 5 Guardians, 3 Thanksgiving, 4 Thanksgiving, 3 The Flash, 2 Blue Beetle, and 1
Five Nights at Freddy's.
FNAF.
Nice.
Glad someone put The Flash in there because I love The Flash and I feel like people hate it. But the fact that he's got Blue Beetle in there makes me question his.
Wow! Don't you disrespect Blue Beetle like that? How dare you? I think I think Zach, me, and you like Flash. I don't love it.
Yeah.
Like it's not like
I enjoy
high
it
up on my
quite a bit.
list, but I do enjoy it. I don't mind. Like I do mind the bad VFX, but it's like it didn't hinder my enjoyment of the movie as much as other people did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
good list.
We asked, is it worth the read? I don't think anyone's read it, so I don't know if we can answer that question.
I don't read, so that's a bad question to ask.
I didn't even know about it till the movie came out.
Well, if you were watching earlier, my take for the day is don't read. So
Yeah.
And the person who wrote the book for this one is working on the 2nd and 3rd book, so we're probably going to get more movies once she's finished.
Okay, cool, very cool. Yeah, I think there's a lot of world building that can go on inside the Hunger Games, and we only know about Pan Am. Is there other countries? Like I guess there is. Pan Am is it meant to be like America? I don't know. I think
I want to see the first Hunger Games. Like I would like a prequel where they go to the beginning just to see how it started. Like or even like the war. Just shows the war and how it led to them deciding we need to start the Hunger Games thing. That'd be awesome.
the videos was lots of fun. Don't disrespect. No, it was. I thought it was fun, but yeah, I didn't. I don't think it was great. It was fun. It's like Barbie. It's fun. It's got its flaws. Where are we at? Yeah, that Jacob just did number 4. So number 3 for you, Zach Talks.
Oh, number 3. Across the Spider-Verse. Yeah. I was someone who, and I still am, I think Into the Spider-Verse is a little bit overrated. I don't love it.
All this hate. I shouldn't have said anything bad about the Blue Beetle.
I don't hate Into the Spider-Verse, but it's not like my favorite Spider-Man movie. I like the New York Central Spider-Man doing his own thing kind of thing. But that being said, Zach, for Across the Spider-Verse, I went in kind of not pessimistic, but I know how I felt about Into the Spider-Verse. When I went to Across the Spider-Verse, I was kind of expecting to get, the same kind of stuff because there's more Spider-Man in the multiverse. But this was just a really good story following Miles Morales. And I really love what they did with his character. I love the way that they incorporated his Spider-Man, the other Spider-Man in the multiverse, into his personal Spider-Man journey. I thought it was better than Into the Spider-Verse, the way that they did it. The animation's incredible, absolutely phenomenal. All the characters are great. It's a cliffhanger. I don't care what anyone says. It's a cliffhanger. It's not a complete movie. We'll see how part 2 comes out. But as far as this one, I was really captured by the imagination put on screen, by the characters, the vibrant colors, the just art that was before me the whole time I was watching this in theaters. I really, really enjoyed it. So I'm putting it at number 3. It used to be number 1, but we got 2 movies that's replaced it.
What's okay? So I keep saying it's not a complete movie, but they say Infinity War is a complete movie, and that ended on a cliffhanger.
If you look at Infinity War, the story of Infinity War is Thanos going to collect these stones and the Avengers trying to stop him. By the end of that story, Thanos gets his stones and he defeats the Avengers. That's the end. And across the Spider-Verse, you go into the Spider-Man realm. Miles Morales finds out something that's going to happen to a character. I don't know if we're doing spoilers. I guess we are if I'm going to talk about the end. But he finds out something has to happen to his father. He tries to go and prevent that. What happens is he gets trapped into the universe by 2 evil versions of characters we haven't seen yet. And then it literally ends with "to be continued."
Yes.
So the story that we're on, with this
Infinity War
movie
ends
was
with
not
Thanos
complete.
will return, which is a to be continued.
Well, I mean, I would argue that the Marvel movies do that anyways. They just to let you know when you can expect to see characters again. Whereas with Across the Spider-Verse, originally it was part 1, by the way, but Across the Spider-Verse, the storylines that it sets up with Spot, with Miles Morales' father, and the dilemma that he has to go through, those storylines aren't completed by the end of Across the Spider-Verse. And in Infinity War, the storylines are completed of Thanos and the Avengers. The Avengers get defeated and Thanos wins.
Yeah,
I think the main plot that was Miles joining the Spider People, thinking he's going to find another family of Spider People, and then realizing this is not it. And I think that was ended.
But with Infinity War as well, they didn't just introduce new villains that out of nowhere came out of nowhere. The evil Miles Morales and
you're talking about the
his
end?
uncle from the alternate reality that he's trapped.
Setting up the next movie.
It's the exact same as Back to the Future Part 2. In Back to the Future Part 2, he goes to an alternate reality.
Don't spoil it for me.
Have you not seen Back to the Future?
I've never seen any of them.
Oh my gosh, dude. Okay, well, Back to the Future Part 2 ends in a way where you need to watch Back to the Future Part 3 to complete the story. And that's how I feel about Across the Spider-Verse as well. But this is a totally different
I don't
different
think
topic.
Across the Spider-Verse is a complete thing. I think it's definitely a part 1. And yeah, it's not really left on a cliffhanger like, where will this go? It's like, nope, the movie has more to go. Where, other films end and you see the end credits scene, another villain crawl out of the sewer, and you're like, oh, that's where the next movie's going. Where this movie is not complete. It's just, you can't bring out a 6-hour movie. So they had to split into 2 parts.
Hey, the way things are going now and where everything's like 3 hours, I could see a 6-hour movie coming eventually.
Spider-Man's man.
6-hour movie, man.
I legit turned the volume down when you said Back to the Future too.
Every time I go to Best Buy, I see the 4K bundle, and I'm like, should I buy that so I can watch these? And I was just like, I haven't seen any of them, so I'm not going to spend the money yet.
I've just seen lots of random scenes from it. Like I know a friend that used to watch it on repeat, and I'd go to his house and it'd be on, and I don't know if it was the first movie, the third movie, or the second, just random scenes. So it's all over the shop for me.
What are you 2 doing?
I want to watch it. I just haven't. Okay, so Zach Attacks, what are you up to for number 3? What do you got?
Number 3 is a movie that comes out on the 22nd, but I got to see it early, and it's Poor Things. A new movie by Yorgos Lanthimos. I don't know how to say his name. But it's starring Emma Stone, William Dafoe, Gerard Carmichael, Rami. A really great cast. And it's about Emma Stone's character, who's Bella Baxter. She, it's not a spoiler, it's in the trailer and everything. She commits suicide. And William Dafoe's character brings her back to life. I don't want to spoil how. And we watch her discover the world again. with this fresh naivete, and it's really funny, but it's not for everyone because it's really weird and it's super hard R, almost NC-17 level, like nudity and stuff like that in it. But I think that the story that they're telling is so beautiful and so raw, and the way the director depicts people, like when you meet people, there's always like a fake layer to them, no matter what, because there's a certain politeness that you have to have. You don't really get to know someone's true self till you become like close friends with them. But the way the director depicts all the characters, that fake layer is not there. You just get their raw self, and it's just really odd and really funny. And I think that the movie touched upon a lot of things in the world where you're like, why don't they fix this? And then it like answers it in a way. So I had a lot of fun. I thought the movie was phenomenal, and I'm really excited to see other people see it.
Okay, sounds interesting. I like anything that's a bit different and out there.
Yeah,
But
I've never seen a movie like this before.
But the risk is when you're into those type of movies, you're going to get disappointed a lot because sometimes they are too out there. I think of I saw Asteroid City this year, and that movie was well out there. Like that
it was too much for you. Too much for you, Zach M. I liked Asteroid City.
I thought the shtick of it being a play got old. I didn't like the performances. Everyone spoke at the same level and monotone the entire time.
Oh.
I thought the alien thing was kind of like, I liked the stop motion alien part, but it got kind of weird by it. And then I felt like the movie just like had no momentum going for it. I thought the style of Wes Anderson, like he always does, looked great, but the story and the characters, there was nothing that I grabbed onto with that movie. I was pretty bored.
Yeah, it felt like it was just missing something. Like I don't know what it is, but it needed something like a standout performance or a plot twist. But it just wasn't.
I just think what he said, the momentum. There's just no, like, you don't know what plot line you're supposed to be following through. Like a lot of movies like that will have like one plot, like, okay, this person's getting from here to there. Asteroid City does not have that at all.
Yeah.
It's just like, but it's just like kind of like past lives. You're just watching these people do this thing. There's no, but I get what you're saying though. Asteroid City is way weirder than past lives is. So
yeah, it really is.
What are we up to? We're up to me. Is this my number 3? So I got Air at number 3. I really, really enjoyed it. I was amazed that you could make a story out of just the signing of Michael Jordan towards a shoe. I'm a big basketball fan, so I enjoyed watching that. I enjoyed the actors that were in it. Jason Bateman,
Matt Damon,
and Matt
Ben
Damon.
Affleck.
Yeah,
just Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. I know they're like, no, they're not the best. No, they're best mates. They're really good friends. Yeah. Like whenever they're together, it is so good. And I honestly, I know there is some bad Ben Affleck films out there, but he's like unbelievable when he gets it right. Like most of them are good, but
he's like Apple TV.
Yeah, TV of actors. But yeah, he's so good. I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm sure someone else, maybe Jacob, might have it on his list, so I won't go into it too much. But yeah, Air, I think anyone can watch it too. Like the premise of trying to sell it on someone, it's about signing Michael Jordan to a shoe brand. That'd be interesting, trying to sign to a shoe brand. People go, it doesn't sound that interesting, but it is. It just finds a way. And I think it's kind of has a wide appeal if you're willing to give it a watch. So that's what I got through.
Coincidentally, my number 3 is the same. Air. We seem to be thinking like today. For me, I just loved, even though it had such a simplistic storyline, it got me so emotional, even though I already knew the outcome. I really loved how it wanted me to them to succeed. And also, when I finished the movie, I was thinking, this is the best movie of the year. Doing some thinking and recalculating. The reason why it isn't, because there is one scene of dialogue that is the worst dialogue scene that I've seen all year. And that dialogue scene is when Matt Damon is talking to Michael Jordan, and people just do not talk like that. Michael Jordan did not. Well, the actor that was playing Michael Jordan did not say anything, and for me, that just took me out of that scene, and that's why it's at number 3, because God be critical, and for me, that scene warned the experience. But besides that, great film and such an entertaining film.
I think what I liked, the thing that stood out to me the most in the film was I liked how they got the fashion right of the people in that day and age, and
yeah,
the props and the music inside that movie was awesome. Like I think it started off with a Dire Straits song, and it just like it hit like one of the best guitar riffs ever, and it just nailed it. And I'm like, this movie is going to be kick ass, and the music was so. So
we learned something about Jacob today. If you do one thing in your show or movie that he does not like, it ruins his experience.
He's got an eye. He's got an eye for those things. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at number 2. What do you got, Zach Talks?
Number 2 already. Wow. This might be recency bias, but I don't care because I was blown away by Godzilla -1. That is my number 2. I freaking loved this movie. I'm not like a huge Godzilla person. I've seen like the couple of the American movies, and I've seen the first 1954 one from Japan, but it was never really a series that I really got into. But I was hearing really good things about this one, and it finally came to my theater because they extended their theatrical run, so it came into my theater. So I went and saw it with my brother, and it was like the best theater experience I had this year. I loved the characters. I really got into the story, and the Godzilla action. I actually felt they did a really compelling job with it because it was suspenseful and it was tension filled, and the sequences with Godzilla, there's a handful of them in the movie. Some people might complain that there's not enough because I don't know, maybe there's like 5, but when he shows up, you really feel the impact of when he shows up. The first time he uses his nuclear breath, the theater went silent and my jaw was like in my lap. I was floored by the filmmaking with this movie, and I was mostly surprised with just how much I cared about the story and how well they built up the characters, and they built up this sense of community. And I love those kind of stories of like communities coming together to protect their own and protect their country, and the way that they incorporated that, as well as using the allegory of Godzilla being like the threat of nuclear war, like they did when Godzilla was first I don't know what you would say, birthed into the world. When the first time the concept came around with Godzilla, they kind of went back to that. I thought it worked really well in this movie, and it works as a drama, it works as a character study, it works as a Godzilla action movie, and it just works across the board for me. I couldn't believe how amazing this movie was for me. So it came in very quickly at my number 2.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. I've heard all good things. I think I'm not a big Godzilla fan. I think some of the more recent Godzilla stuff is so far-fetched, especially like Godzilla versus King Kong and, you know, the beasts that live inside the Earth's core. I think that's really out there. But is this not that? It's more traditional, you know, like a big giant to come out of the water and attacks Tokyo. Is that kind of?
Yeah. It's
he's
the total
horrific.
Yeah.
What's great about the movie, and I think Zach, you said this in your review. I watched a lot of reviews. I think I recently watched your review and you said this, is that Godzilla mirrors the main character's arc and story.
Yes.
So like even when it was you that said that. Even when he's not on screen, he feels like when I was watching the movie, I always felt like, oh God, he's gonna pop up right here. That's how it felt. His presence was always there. And I think with the American movies, it doesn't feel like that. Like they just so deep into like the science and the drama between the humans that we don't care about. And it's like, go back to Godzilla. But here you're like, oh no, I care about these people. Godzilla, don't show up and kill them. I think that's the slight difference why this movie is much better.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I'm keen to watch it. I've been trying to wait until I know they got subtitles, but I've been learning Japanese, and I wanted to try and get good enough that I could watch it without subtitles. But I don't think I'm quite there.
Cool.
trying to hold out. Maybe it might make a better experience not having the direct translation to English, like actually understanding what they're trying to say in the native language. But I don't know.
That'd be dope.
That's my goal. Never seen Godzilla yet, so hyped to see it. Spoiler Kings. How's it going, Tank? Okay, having a private conversation on our.
Zach talks. What made Godzilla the best theater experience?
I think what made it the best theater experience is it was one of those movies where I could just be in the world and not see anything around me. And like those theater experiences, they only really happen for me a couple times. Like when I go to the movies, for example, Killers of the Flower Moon, I'm aware I'm in a theater. Like I'm watching the movie, but there's movies where I know I'm looking at a screen. Where with Godzilla -1, I was so enwrapped and enthralled by everything that I felt like all I could see was that screen. There was nothing around me. There was no people in front of me. It was just this world, and I was hooked. So
Did
those.
you see it by yourself?
No, I saw it with my brother. My brother came with me. He might as well have been at home though, because I was just so.
It's like I didn't even. If he said something to me, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's awesome when you have that as a theater experience where it's like sometimes you see a movie that you weren't excited for, you didn't think much of, and then you're watching the movies and you go, that was so good, but you know that it can't be replicated outside of the cinemas.
I was on the edge of my seat so many times too.
That may not be the case for this movie, but there's like a few in the past where I'm like, unless you see it in the movies, you probably won't like it, but being there, the experience, it does. It's a different experience.
And the sound design, guys, in the theater with this movie, the sound design is one of those movies too. It was one of the reasons why I was so wrapped up doing too, because it's just so good and it's so in your I loved it.
It's a movie made for theaters.
It is,
yeah. Like there's certain movies I watch, I'm like, I could have watched that at home. Even though I support theaters because if they go away, movies are gonna tank in quality. But there's certain movies I watch in theaters. I'm like, yeah, they didn't utilize the theater as well as you could have. But Godzilla -1, I don't love it as much as everybody does, but it's in my top 20.
Nice.
It's the roar, his stomping, the explosion. Like you're feeling it. You're not gonna get that from your TV at home. You know, like some of it is gonna be missing. Like even with Oppenheimer, like even though there's a lot of talking, that explosion and everything that happens with that, like you feel it. So I think there's certain movies that's like, yeah, that needs to be seen in the theater.
It's also incredibly smart. I won't give it away, but the way they think of that they can destroy Godzilla was so not what I was expecting, and I thought it was brilliant and was so outside the box thinking, and it worked for me really well.
Yeah.
What do you got at number 2, Zach Attacks?
My number 2 is a lot of people's worst movie of the year, but you know, that's how I am against the grain. Is Beau is Afraid by Ari Aster. I love this movie. One thing you'll notice about my favorite movies all time, or movies that end up on top of my list, is when you just dedicate yourself to your vision. You don't care if like people are gonna like it or not. I favor that more than like the perfect movie. So like last year, Everything Everywhere All at Once was my favorite movie of the year, and it was because they went and made the movie they wanted to make, and also it just ended up being really great. And Beau is Afraid is a movie that, you know, it's his character. He's a grown-ass middle-aged man, and he has mommy issues and daddy issues, and he has so much social anxiety that like him just going across the street is like a dinosaur is chasing him from his building to the next store. And just with that concept, just think of him trying to travel from his apartment to where his mom lives, where it's in another state. Like everything is heightened for him. Everything is a danger. And then it so happens that he is in danger. So it just, it's much worse. And it's stunning. Each act is very different from the next. Joaquin Phoenix is great, as he usually is. I wish Napoleon didn't come out so people couldn't see that, mediocre movie. I love that review you did of that movie. He was so bad.
I let it all out.
I know. And it touches on a lot of different subjects that I really, 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 really can relate to, but not maybe as much as me and Kenny's talked about it. He does not like that movie. There's a lot of topics that, and I guess like that's the past lives thing. Like there's certain things in past lives that people connected to more than I
Mhm.
did. And I think with Beau is Afraid, there's certain things about like anxiety and what people think about you, and oh my god, that past love, and I could have had the opportunity to do that, and like having issues with your family and how they treat it. It's just all that, but like turned into like a superhero movie in a way, in that quality. It's not a superhero movie, but it has the quality of that epic scope. So yeah, I love Beau is Afraid.
Either of you guys able to answer Preston's question? Jacob and I haven't
What he
seen
said?
this film. You want to know what you think of the holdovers?
That is number 15 for me right now.
I'll
Love
tell
it.
you in a minute.
Oh, okay. Well, we know what's going number one.
It's pretty decent. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, Holdovers is great. Definitely watch it. It's a Christmas classic. Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about it. I have no idea what this film is.
Mm.
Well,
Interesting.
Zach is about to talk your ear off about it. So be prepared.
Okay.
We'll
So-
see. We'll see. You never know.
Well, we're up to my number 2.
Yeah.
Something I didn't think I would like. Go with Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, nice.
I don't really. I like animated, but I never think much of it. Like, I'm not gonna. I'll tell you now. Spider-Man is not number 1, so it's not appearing on my list. I did like it, but yeah, animated films. I'm always like, I don't know. I love them, but I just find it hard to compare them to non-animated. But this I really enjoyed because one, it was a good length. It kept me engaged. It wasn't like, yes, with any hero movie, what you expect to happen happens. The hero wins. But I laughed at this film a lot, and I liked the art style. I thought it was better than the Spider-Man films, the Spider-Verse ones. I thought the art style was really, really cool, and you could tell that Seth Rogen had his hands all over this film. So I found it really funny, and I knew nothing about the Ninja Turtles, so I thought it was really cool. So it's on the list because it surprised me, because I expected to not like it, and I was like, yep, this is cool. I can't wait to watch it again. So I'm waiting for it to come out. I guess on Paramount Plus will be where it's going to be. So desperate to watch it a second time.
Very good choice.
So what do you got at number 3, Jacob?
My number 2, it was between Air and this movie, and I'll tell the reason why I gave it to this movie. It is Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. I guess not part 1, because I've been listening to Zach talks and they're not going with part 2. But for me, with this movie, kind of the same reason as Zach talks, that film experience, I was just in the zone with this movie. For me, the experience, I did not see the runtime with this movie. When the movie was finished, I was like, it's already finished already. And for me, the action was great. The story with the whole AI, the more I think about it, I'm glad that they went there, because they changed it up from, Ian Hunt trying to get something done, trying to do something. But it will be interesting to see what they do with the next movie. I'm very happy with the conclusion of this movie. It will be interesting to see what the next movie is called, and very much enjoyed this film. Tom Cruise doing his own stunts. That's probably the one thing why it doesn't get over the line, is because at his age, could he really still be doing it? But I do love the enthusiasm that he still has it at his age. Really love this movie.
Nice, man. Yeah, that was the movie of the summer for me. Mission
Yeah.
Impossible. That was
it's
amazing.
the only Mission Impossible movie I've seen, and I didn't dislike it, but it didn't mean anything, having not seen any of the others. I was like, why is this old man still doing this stuff? Like, surely there's someone else out there better. And then
no
kind of
one
what
else
Jacob,
can.
yeah, and kind of what Jacob said about him doing his own stunts. I would have watched and gone, well, that's not believable, but he did. An old man. I think he is actually older than the character he's playing. Like, just. And I was like, so if I question whether the character he's playing could do it, well, someone older than him did in fact do it, but with safety precautions. Like, obviously he wasn't at risk of dying, but he still had to do the stunts himself.
Sometimes he's at risk of dying.
Yeah.
He has hurt himself really badly doing these stunts before, but yeah.
Yeah. So it was, I didn't hate it. But,
That ending train scene is one of the best action set pieces I've ever seen.
So
Every
good.
time I see it, I'm like, this is practical? That's insane. These people are crazy.
Whose face wins that?
Probably me.
Yours? Yeah.
MI says 8.
Oh,
Turtles is
wow.
9. Wow, right next to each other.
That's awesome.
MI7 is, what is it for me? 13. Turtles is 27.
So we're on to number one, which
Yeah.
we kind of already know what you've got, Zach Talks, but tell me about it. Sell it for me.
Yeah. I guess there's not going to be any real surprise here, but when I watched this movie, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I was amazed by it. Like, Megalodons aren't even around anymore, and I felt like they were on the screen in front of me for real. The Meg 2 was a movie that just really
Please
captured
kick
the
this man out of here
imagination.
now. Kick him out.
Oh,
Completely
yeah.
hurt him off. How
No,
dare
it's
you
okay,
do that to
man.
us?
All right, I'll change it. The holdovers. Let's.
I was so
holdovers.
engrossed.
The
Like, you're doing your
holdovers.
job.
The holdovers, man. The Holdovers is my number one movie of the year, and this is a movie that I was really anticipating. From the concept of the trailer alone, of like doing the throwback to like the voiceover and everything, and announcing the holdovers, and then doing the trailer, and at the end doing the holdovers again, like how those old trailers used to do it. I loved everything about the trailer, and I was like, if they can get this trailer translated to the movie itself, I'm going to love this movie. And sure enough, that's what they did. Alexander Payne did. It was insanely up my alley. Like, I couldn't even believe it. Not only was it based around Christmas, which I love Christmas movies, I love Christmas time, but it had the human story of these people who in one way or another have been abandoned at the holiday season. They have to come together, spend the time together. They're at odds, and they have to come to like each other and become like this little family as they are stuck at this boarding school over the holidays with the students who couldn't go home for Christmas. Dominic Sessa, this is like his feature debut as the student that the main student that gets left behind and has to be with the grumpy old teacher played by Paul Giamatti. And he was amazing. Like, he was like, as far as debut in a film goes, I thought his performance was phenomenal. Davine Joy Randolph, who plays the cook, who is also a mother who has lost her child at this Christmas season. She brings so much emotion and heart to this movie. And Paul Giamatti is probably my favorite character of this movie season. He is amazing as this cranky old teacher. He's got some of my favorite dialogue and favorite lines of the year as this character. But as the movie goes on, all of these characters, their surface level perceptions that they have at the start get peeled away, and just the way that the movie breaks it down to their flaws and their insecurities and their sensitivities, I just thought it was so beautifully done. Such a beautiful human story, phenomenal performances, great dynamic between Dominic Sessa and Paul Giamatti, and an ending that honestly had me again. I teared up a little bit at the end. And this is also a movie, I watched it when I was sick. I got sick the last week, and I watched this. I've never done this before with a movie, but I watched this movie, and then as soon as it was over, I hit play again, and I watched it again, and then I had to show my family. So then when I was feeling better, I went over to my family's house, and I was like, "You guys got to watch The Holdovers with me," and I watched it again, and even whether I was sick, whether I was feeling 100%, I loved this movie. So it's my number one of the year.
Nice. no Meg. Well, you said the Megs don't exist anymore. I was like, what is he talking about? I said the Holdovers, and then you said Meg 2. I was like, this mother lover.
Yeah, when you said it, I was Googling it. I'm looking up the Holdover. I'm like, it doesn't say anything about Megalodons in here. I'm like, this sounds wild.
I saw you looking up something. I was like, what are you looking up?
Yeah, I'm like, well, it says that like they're at a school. I'm like, where's the Megalodons?
Yeah, I had to do something. I gave it away too early, so I was like, I gotta throw a curveball.
Very
I was like last year in my list, and I said Morbius was my number one. Everybody was like, "What?" And like, no, don't unsub.
Don't unsub.
Okay, what do you got, Zach Attacks? What's your number one?
Oh, come on. Y'all know what the number one is. I haven't said it yet. Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh,
Nice.
Of course. Look, I'm biased. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero. So if
Mine
you
too.
too.
nail him in the comic format. That's why Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse upholds to me more than the live action versions, because like they're Spider-Man, but they don't fully feel like Spider-Man in live action. These fully feel like a Spider-Man story in the best way possible. They look like the comics just leapt off the screen or the page onto the screen. And they're just so much fun. They're funny. They're found family. They're has Miles, and obviously he's a little biased there, him being black. He's from Brooklyn. I'm black from Brooklyn. Of course I relate to him. And then for him and Peter to be like on equal standing, and just all the weird stuff about Spider-Man from the comics just brought to life. And then for me to see people who don't read it just accept it and love it, I'm like, yes, join me. But yeah, just overall, just the movie from beginning to end, that opening action sequence with Miguel and Gwen and all that stuff with that weird 1900s vulture just blew my mind visually. I was just, wow, this is how they're opening the film, and this is not probably the best fight. And then just the twists and turns of the story, the canon event stuff, the stuff with his father, him messing up that guy, the Middle Eastern Spider-Man's world, different things like that, where they could have just made this a simple, like, oh yeah, he's happy-go-lucky, he's trying to get with Gwen. They added a little bit more, and then retroactively made the first movie better. It's just a fantastic movie. I didn't have an issue with where it ended, because going in, I knew that it was a part one, because it originally was called part one at first, and then they eventually changed the titles. So I knew that it was going to be a cliffhanger ending. And then the way the cliffhanger ends, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that version of the Prowler. Trying not to spoil, but I just thought that was amazing. Yeah, it's as a Miles as the Prowler if his father wasn't around. Sorry if you didn't see the movie yet, but I would have never thought of that. And when a movie can do something where I never thought of it, it's just like, oh, you're a genius. All the awards, best animated movie of the year, best movie of the year. I don't care about Oppenheimer. Forget about Barbie. Miles gets best not supporting actor, best lead actor. Gwen gets best supporting actress. Give it all the awards. I love it. Oh yeah, you're definitely different for having that at your number one.
What is NFAS?
Oh, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Me neither.
I thought it was going to be a horror, but apparently it's not.
I've seen it.
It's like PG.
Yeah.
No, it is a horror film, but it's just PG. It's for kids.
It's for kids.
It is based on a kid's video game.
Yeah.
No, I agree with everything you said about Spider-Man. I didn't put it in my list. I obviously really loved it, but it was exactly it was as good as I thought it was going to be, which is like a weird way to say why it doesn't make the list. I expected it to be amazing, and it was, where I wanted to pick 5 movies that surprised me, where I had high expectations and it met it. So, plus I figured, other people are going to have it in its list. We don't need to all be talking about the same thing. So at number 1, I really wanted to put The Marvels, but I think Jacob will probably put that at his number 1, so I don't want to ruin that. No. I did like The Marvels. I think The Marvels was fun. I put Champions, actually.
Oh, that's surprising.
Oh, that's cute.
Basketball movie.
I like that movie.
I just thought it was so different. We have had this concept, even The Mighty Ducks, one of my favorite movies as a kid, was very similar, Drink Driver. Coach Bombay was an ex-sports star where as a kid, and that haunted him because he missed the goal in extra time, and he never went on to achieve what he wanted to, where Woody Harrelson's character was a coach. But the same thing, they get made to do community service. It's a movie that's been done before, but it changed the script a little bit. I like adding in the people with disabilities in it. I thought they just were amazing on screen, so funny. I just think they did such a good job, and it goes to show that people with disabilities can be in more movies and finding roles for them, and it just worked really well. And it wasn't like we're laughing at you because you have a disability; we're laughing at you because you're funny. This is really, really funny. Yeah. I loved it. I thought the love story wasn't too predictable in it, and we've kind of talked about spoilers, but I love that they don't just win in the end, and it was perfect. Every other sport movie, they make the shot on the buzzer or they do something in extra time and they win. And this, they don't, but they're stoked. They're like, they don't care. And that's the whole message of Special Olympics, that it's about participating and having fun and equality. It's not about winning. And I thought it was nice to see a sports movie where it's not about winning, or even when they do have ones where they lose, they gain something else in the end, or they learn a life lesson. That wasn't the case. They're like, it was never about winning. We just wanted to have fun. Like, whoever said winning was important, like, we're not here to win. We got to go on a cool holiday. This was amazing. And they set it up the whole time that the guy was going to do the shot over the back, and he's finally going to make one. And you're like, oh, he's going to do it. He's like, and he misses. You're like, it's just perfect. A movie that surprised me, and that's why I got number one.
I think that's what nailed the ending for me. The fact that they set that up like the whole movie, and then for him to do it and miss was just chef's kiss.
Yeah, so I liked that it was something a bit different. So what do you got at number one, Jacob?
I don't know if it's surprising, but Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Nice.
For me, I actually think there is a conclusion of the story, but for a character. And with this movie, it's actually about Spider-Gwen, with her finding a calling and finding acceptance as well, because the movie is actually about her. Miles Morales is actually the main character of the movies, but for this movie, Spider-Gwen is actually the main character because of what happens in the beginning, and then realizing that I've actually chosen the organization over my friends. So it's actually the journey is concluded. It's actually helping Miles. That is the next part of the movie. And also seeing that Miles is actually a variant, basically. And then I still think there's more to the story, because it's very interesting that 2099 Spider-Man is a vampire Spider-Man, but he doesn't have anything that the other Spider-Man went through. So I think he's actually lying. He's just telling the story that is suiting him. So I think there's more information that he's not saying, because I know his event was about his daughter, and he came into it because he stole someone out. He stole his own version's identity, but I think there's more into it. And also the animation showing the emotions of the characters. The animation show, you can do that with this movie, except for in live action you can't. This movie does everything well, and I've accepted the final, how it ends with the cliffhanger. When I was at the cinema, I was like, really, you're gonna end it here? But now I've accepted it. And the theater, out of all the movies I've seen, it's been the busiest movie I've seen. Super busy. Every seat was packed, and I think there's a reason for it. And even though the movie is delayed, I believe until 2025 or 2026, I'm very much looking forward to it, and that's why it's the movie of the year, and I think it's the best movie of the year.
Nice.
Round of
Well, I
applause.
think
You just talked about something I didn't even think about with the Gwen thing. That was genius. Thank you very much.
I don't think many people dislike this film. So it's universally loved. You can see that featured across all lists. I ignored it only because I wanted to go a bit different, but it was definitely
That's fair.
like top 5 movie of the year for sure. I didn't ask this question with the shows because I don't think it really works, but what was the worst movie you watched in this year, but you had to watch the whole thing, start to finish? Or even not the worst, something that stands out that you watched and you go, that was so bad. Why did I do it? Where with TV series, you just
the worst.
I've seen 95 movies this year.
Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
95th movie is called Mega Lightning. That is the worst movie I've watched.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. Don't hear about it. Don't watch it. Don't look at it. Don't even look. Don't look at the poster, because the poster kept flashing by on me every time I go on the site. I was like, this looks cool. This girl with a serious face with a sword in her hand, lightning in the background. I wonder what this is about. And I sat there, and I don't know why I watched the whole thing. It's terrible. It's absolutely garbage. But like a movie that like more, huh?
I was going to say, you've watched a lot of movies, but I think you're about to answer the question. I was going to say, what's something you knew about and was expecting to be good and really disappointed? Because that obviously was a movie you didn't know much.
So Ant-Man Quantumania is like number 85. I was very disappointed in that movie.
That's pretty low.
Yeah. Napoleon It's number 81. I was so hyped for this movie. I was so hyped. You can watch my trailer reactions. You can watch me when we did my top 10 most anticipated films for the fall. I was like, this is my number 2 or number 3. I think it was number 2 because Dune was still coming out, and then Dune got moved. So I was like, oh, I'm super excited. That movie was so mid. It was ridiculous. It really pissed me off. Meg 2, just not being fun the way it needs to be fun throughout the film, and only like the last 20 minutes. What the hell? Yeah, and The Little Mermaid. Yeah, just
Haven't seen that.
yeah, it was very mediocre for me. I really wanted to see because that's my niece's favorite movie of the year, and I was like, oh, I gotta watch it, and I was like, I'm kind of bored.
I've only ever fallen asleep in 2 movies at the cinemas, and that was one of them. And the other one was The Invention of Lying, and I don't think that was a bad movie. I just fell asleep for some reason. But yeah, it's one of 2 movies I've only ever fallen asleep in.
I dozed off this Friday watching The Boy and the Heron.
Mm.
That was the first time all year that I've dozed off watching a movie.
I'm looking at my letterbox, and I think I avoid a lot of bad movies. But if I hear they're bad, I don't usually want to spend my time on them. So I haven't seen anything truly atrocious. But as far as the most disappointing goes, I gotta go Napoleon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Napoleon.
I haven't seen it. I was considering watching it this afternoon, but I don't think I will now. You guys have talked.
Wait till it gets to Apple. Don't waste the money.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go see Silent Night instead, from the creators of John Wick.
The John Woo movie?
Nice.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I saw a trailer for it and I was like, that looks all right. And it's kind of a Christmas movie, so I only watch Christmas movies in December, so I'll give it a watch.
Perfect. Make sure you go watch The Holdovers.
Yeah, you got to see The Holdovers if you got.
I got to find it where I can see it. I worked it out. It's showing. No, I haven't checked it.
Sick was how dare you spoil it, Kings? No, it was not. I like that movie.
Transform? Yeah, I thought that was pretty bad.
I like Transformers.
It was decent.
It wasn't bad.
Napoleon is definitely the most disappointing.
Yeah,
that's probably my second most disappointing film of the year.
What about you, Jacob? What was the worst movie you watched from start to finish this year?
Worst movie or most disappointing?
They can be the same, or if you've got 2 different, talk about them.
Most disappointing movie would have to be The Creator, because I was expecting that movie to be at least, got to be honest, number 1. That had such originality to it. I was so hyped for it, and then when I saw it, it started off so well, and then it dropped. And I got to be honest, worst movie of the year is The Marvels. I knew it.
Oh wow, the worst of the year.
Yeah, and I'm a big MCU fan, but to me, I don't know what direction the Marvel is heading at the moment. But Deadpool 3, I think, will save the day. I think.
Yeah,
that's definitely Tank saying Transformers sucks.
I
had arguments with him about that.
The most disappointing, the same. I think The Creator. I thought after seeing the first trailer, I was like, it's not my thing. Then I saw the second trailer. I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. And then I'm watching it. I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. And then by the end, I was like, that's so bad. I like, oh, it wasn't bad. I was just like, I got so hyped about it, and it didn't live up to it. Where if I went in there with no expectations, maybe I would have walked away differently. But they put a lot of promo into it. I think maybe it was even at like the Super Bowl or something, that people dressed up as, characters from the movie. Like they really spent a lot of money into it, and I've not heard anyone say anything good about it. So that was.
I thought it was great.
It was okay.
I thought it was great. It's not the best sci-fi movie of the year, but I thought it was great. It's not as amazing as I thought it was going to be, but
yeah,
it's not bad.
The worst movie I saw, which, again, when I was looking online, I saw a lot of people put this in their top 10, top 5, was Bottoms. I really, Jacob told me that you love this movie, Zach, and I just couldn't believe
I'm leaving.
It was so weird.
How dare you?
Like,
how dare you,
and
sir?
I love comedies. I love things that are out there. Like for instance, I think like Hubie Halloween is one of my favorite movies, and that's bizarre.
Okay, I'm really leaving. Bye.
And that really is like my favorite Adam Sandler.
bottoms.
But this movie was just weird. I couldn't work out what time zone though, like where they were in years, because they had like a Motorola flip phone at one point, and then the jocks were walking around wearing their like full NFL with pads like to class, like all day every day. They were wearing the
It's a
full getup.
parody. Making fun of this.
I know, but it was the parody, but it was a bad parody. It like wasn't obvious that it was a parody. That's like I love a parody film, but I just don't think they.
Wow.
I just don't think they did it right, and like the whole idea, and like when the girl, like they brought her out on stage, like, oh, you've been doing self-defense classes. Well, beat this strong male, the best fight, and he like kicked her in the head when she's like, and I'm like,
That
what
was
is going on
amazing.
here?
See,
I like it. It was a bad parody. It was a parody that wasn't obvious that it was a parody. I reckon, like it didn't go over the top.
There was a guy in a cage in the corner of the class. How was it not obviously a
No, but I think they tried to make it not seem like. I think of like those scary movie or like Not Another Teen Movie or the
Okay,
comeback.
no, yeah, it wasn't that kind of parody.
It wasn't. It was like it wasn't part of a parody. So it was like, oh, you kind of got a full commit or not do it at all. And I'm like, this is a bit weird. And like she like nudges him with the car, and he's like, ah.
that was hilarious, though.
That was amazing.
I think that was the only scene I laughed at, and the rest I'm like, nah, it's a bit stupid. But
See, I can kind of see where you're coming from because I liked Bottoms, but I definitely didn't love it as much as my buddy Zach did here. And I think the reason I didn't is because the movie, it kind of starts off pretty grounded. And then as it goes on, it just keeps getting more absurd and more absurd. And it keeps asking you to accept more absurdity as it goes along. And by the time I got to the point where, yes, that girl was fighting in front of the entire assembly and was getting the crap kicked out of her. And I was like, no student, no teacher, no one's trying to stop this. And then by the third act, where it's just like murder, I was like, this might be a little bit too far for me to accept. But I did laugh quite a bit throughout it, and it's a comedy, so that's all you can really ask for. But I do see a lot of your criticisms, and I can see where you're coming from.
Well, the thing is, I love comedies and I laugh at the dumbest things, and I didn't laugh at this, and I don't know, maybe I just didn't get it. And I'm
just messing around. Like there's other people I've seen say that they hate this movie, I get it.
I think the whole premise is a bit, it's different, like horny lesbians trying to pick up other girls, which is like we've seen the guy version of that a million times over. So I was like, okay, they've tried something, but it was just, I don't know, a bit weird. Like they're like trying to flirt, and you're like, is that really how a girl would flirt with another girl? Like I don't know. Like they're
teenagers, I guess.
Yeah. Plus the fact that all the actors were like nearly 30. I was like, this doesn't.
I wouldn't want to watch.
I love the football players, though.
Yeah.
I did love the football players.
Oh, they were hilarious.
The pineapple.
Yeah.
Oh my.
It's a very weird movie. So I
laughed harder in any movie this year than that.
The most. Well, not disappointing. That was the worst movie I watched this year. Not the most disappointing, but I thought when I read the premise of it, I'm like, this is gonna be so funny. I'm gonna laugh at this the whole way, and I just didn't.
Yeah. I get it, man. I get where you're coming from with that for sure.
Kenny rates it. He's got 15 out of 53. Like, liked it more than Barbie. I think
a lot more than Barbie.
Definitely.
Yeah. 30. See, that's a bit more. 33 out of 56. That's fair. Okay. So we've agreed that Spider-Man's overall, if we gave them a score between us, it probably was the overall number one pick. So
yeah, probably
2 people had it number one. I would have if I was trying to not be different, and you had it on your list too, Zach.
I had it at 3. Yep.
Yeah, so it's collectively would have scored the highest points.
It would have won an Academy.
We need to go see The Handover. Apparently, The Holdovers. Sorry,
Holdovers. Yep.
Yeah, that's a different movie you just said.
What
Hangovers?
Yeah, I'll go watch that. I'm like, oh, where's the Megalodons? Like they're in Vegas. What the hell?
Zach M lied to me.
We agreed. Oppenheimer was a bit of a cinematic masterpiece, but don't know if it's rewatchable. No one put Killers of the Flower Moon in there, which is interesting. I've heard a lot of people say it was great. I'm like an hour 20 in and starting to realize that Leonardo DiCaprio is a villain.
It's number 57 for me.
Yeah, it doesn't take long to realize that he's it's pretty telegraphed, and the movie thinks it's smarter than you are, but you figured it out before the movie will reveal it to you, and you have to wait 2 hours before it does. So it's kind of that was kind of a flaw with it for me. I was like, I know what's happening, so just reveal it.
Either just reveal it. That's amazing. It's a masterfully made film. It's 3 hours and 30 minutes of a master at work. It's just for me, after an hour and 30 minutes of the same perspective of a story that should have multiple perspectives, it kind of grinded on me. I was like, yes, we get it. These are the oppressors. Now show me the side from the other people that are being oppressed and what they're thinking. No, we're not? Okay.
Yes. That's a really good point.
Yeah. I still think it's worth a watch because I think it's, even though it's low on my list, in my review, I said it's the most important film of the year because it's a story that we haven't heard yet. And I think it's a jumping off point for a lot of people to like, oh, I didn't know about this. So they can go and study on it and research themselves. But for me who knew about this already, I was just like, I would love for like you to talk about the Osage and show them from their, like, why is this happening? Like you said, you had to stop the movie and go and go, wait, why is this person can't get their money themselves? That should have been said in the movie.
Yeah, the other thing that makes it bad for me is I wasn't willing because not at the cinemas now. It's finished for us. Like there's very select cinemas or times. Like I can't find it, and I'm not willing to pay like $30 to watch it on Apple TV. So I found somewhere I can stream it, but there's no subtitles for when they speak in their native tongue. So I don't have a clue what the hell they're saying. So it's like I'm missing the So it makes it's making it harder to understand like what's going on because I'm really only hearing one side of the story. So I think I need to find
it's going to be on Apple TV Plus proper soon. So when it does that, watch that.
I might have to wait for that. You got any questions, Jacob? You always have questions.
Yes. What inspired you to become YouTubers?
Ooh. Oh. You want to go first?
Stuff like this. When I imagined myself being a YouTuber, I imagined it doing what people doing. That sounded weird. You know what I mean? Doing videos with people and talking, discussing what we like, breaking things down, countdowns and lists, and doing it with people. And I was doing it at first with a different channel that I was on, and then that didn't work out. So I love collaborating with people. Like some of my favorite YouTube people that are in this space are people who is like 3 people. And they have all different personalities. And even though they respect each other's opinion, they might have different opinions. And I love that because it's really respectful. So that's really what inspired me to be a YouTuber is the community, me finding a movie that I love, posting a review, and then people commenting that they love it. It's okay, I'm not the only one. For a long time when I watched a movie and I loved it, I didn't have anyone to talk about it because it was like a indie film. And my friends only watched MCU and Mission Impossible and Fast X. And no one watched the lonely A24 film about a knight that has no honor, like, so stuff like that is why I decided to become a YouTuber so I could build community and have people to talk about the things that I love about.
Yeah, for sure. Pretty similar. At the start, it was definitely because I watched a lot of YouTubers that talked about movies and I just wanted to be part of the conversation. And I had friends who I talked about movies with, but they were, high school ends, you go to different paths and they moved away and I didn't really have that going on anymore. So YouTube kind of became like a creative outlet for me because I was pretty bored. I was pretty just like by myself a lot, going to work, coming home, watching movies, and then doing YouTube. It kind of became a cycle. So if you go back to like my channel in the early days, I'm doing a lot of like skits and like running around Walmart and just like trying to do anything to be like entertaining and try to let my creative side exist. But then it did transition to the community of talking about movies and just like wanting to engage with other people about conversations with movies, and that's where it really shifted into just like full on reviews and conversations and commentary on movies and stuff with and collaborations as well with awesome guys like you guys.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Wait, no. We just spilled our heart outs. You got to tell us why you guys
Okay.
wanted to be
Yeah,
YouTubers.
Jacob, why'd you get to YouTube?
What inspired me is someone that's on the spectrum. I always wanted to be a YouTuber as well. Watching other YouTubers, I thought it'd be an awesome thing to do. Didn't realize how hard it actually is, and then I decided to give it a go, and I've noticed the improvement since actually doing it properly. And yeah, I think giving something a go is important, and doing stuff that gives you inspiration and belongingness to something is important.
Yeah.
Well, I got into it because Jacob asked me to join in and help him, and I enjoy doing it because I get to see the enjoyment he gets out of it, and seeing the growth he's got from it and the confidence. I also think I'm a fairly confident person, but I don't like putting stuff online. Like the idea of if I watch someone else put out a YouTube video and it only gets a couple of views, I feel bad for them. It's a bit cringy. I hate watching. I find so many things cringy. And so I'm always afraid to put things out online. I'm like, nah, screw it. If Jacob's going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'll put myself out there. We get some negative comments, but so be it. You just take it. I'm one of those people that, when I see someone do something online, and if I disagree with it, I'd rather just not say anything. Because one, you don't know how it's going to affect them. Or you say it and then you get 30 people comment on you and you're the worst person in the world. And it's like, I just rather avoid having conflict. So I try to avoid putting things online. But yeah, doing this, it's been fairly positive. If anything, the comments are either, people giving us feedback, or I don't know, often there's, people wanting us to react to these radical religious videos that you get sometimes to probably bots or something asking us to do it. But other than that, it's been pretty positive experience.
Yeah, someone said I was like Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? I don't see that at all. What the hell?
What was it? It was the review of.
It was a reaction to the Miss Marvels.
Oh yeah, the trailer reaction to the Marvels, and I don't know, it was a random comment. So that's what got us into it.
That's funny that you said that, because when I first started, when I got to the 200, 250 subscribe mark, I started getting react to this trailer, and I'll click on the link, and I'm like, what the hell is this? It's like some religious thing, and it's just that's fine and that's you're into, but why is it only that you react to? What's going on?
That's funny. I didn't get that very much.
No.
Maybe once I can think of a time where someone commented they wanted me to react to some religious thing, but yeah, it wasn't very part of my story.
Yeah,
it happened a couple times, and then eventually they stopped.
Yeah, it's stopped now for us.
Yeah. Any more questions, Jacob? I don't want to keep these guys too long. Might be got other things to do.
I know I have asked this a couple of times, but what's your three favorite streaming services that you would choose if you could only choose one or three?
Okay. You got this one, Zach.
3. I think I gotta go with the ones that I have, and that's Amazon Prime, Netflix, and Disney Plus.
Okay.
Those are the ones I watch the most.
If you had to pick only one of them, what would you go?
Ooh.
I find Disney Plus, I actually end up clicking on something more than I do Netflix and Amazon Prime. I feel like those are my real scrolling through, getting bored, and then leaving it. Whereas with Disney Plus, I don't know, I always end up finding something to click on. So I think I'd go Disney Plus.
What's your? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, what do you got, Zach?
Netflix, definitely. I was gonna say Hulu, but I'm gonna switch over to Disney Plus because Hulu's just gonna be part of it now. So Disney Plus, and the third one would probably have to be, surprisingly, Peacock, because it has a lot of shows like Poker Face and Bel Air, and a lot of my mom's cop shows that she likes to watch on there. So it's not only for me, it's for her too. So yeah, and it also has wrestling, and I watch wrestling, so that's kind of why I would keep Peacock.
What about you, Jacob?
I would actually probably say Apple. I would out of all of them, I would choose Apple. I won't be watching a lot, but the content I'll be watching will be good.
Nice.
If I had to pick one that if I had to get rid of all the others and keep one, I'd probably go Disney. I think I could always find something on Disney.
Mhm.
I'm finding that most streaming services, if I had to survive with any of them, and I could only have one, you'd find something. You miss out on
Yeah.
things, but you'd find something. Apple TV, the only thing that hurts, in my opinion, is lack of content. So I think you'd run out of things pretty quickly. Disney's got a pretty big catalog, so
Yeah.
I think, yeah, Disney. And I've gotten back into Netflix recently. I kind of got sick of it because it got too expensive and I wasn't watching anything on it. So I downgraded to the version with the ads, and that's like $6.95 here a month in Australia. So probably half that for you guys. And I don't mind the ads. Like, honestly, doesn't bother me. Every now and then you get an ad about, a burger joint or something. It's not bad. Like, I'm happy to pay substantially less money and get a few ads. So
Yeah. Good deal.
Final question. What is your favorite YouTube review or trailer reaction to do? And what is your least video to do that you get the most nervous about, but you still have to do it?
Ooh, that's a good question. You want to take
That's
this one, Zach? I took the last one first.
He's like, let me think. So my favorite video to do is just like a standard review, because that's what I got into this for. Like, I love
movie
doing
review?
reviews. Yeah, like a movie review. So yeah, so I love doing movie reviews. I do not like doing TV episode reviews.
Okay,
and
you
that's
stopped
why I
doing
stopped
them,
doing
yeah.
That's why I stopped doing them, because I just feel like I don't know how to review like a 20-minute, 30-minute episode. It's just weird. Because it's just like the first part of the first act of a long series. So it's like, how do I judge this without seeing the rest? With a movie, you get the full package. Even if it's a part one, I can still judge it because it's a 3-act structure. So that's why I kind of stopped doing the show reviews. So I do not like reviewing individual episodes of series. But I love reviewing a movie. My favorite reaction is just the stuff I love. Like, if I know I'm gonna be hype, I know I'm gonna be hype. I'm not gonna have a lot of energy. Sometimes I react to stuff that I'm not sure what it is, and I don't have the energy I would love to like be entertaining. But I also love reacting to something that I know I was gonna be hyped for, like the Echo trailer. Like, I was super hyped watching that trailer, and I went in with low expectations. Yeah, it was a great trailer. So I think I think that answers all your questions.
I like the result of things a little bit more than I like making them sometimes. So I like live streams. Live streams are some of my favorite. I just feel like when I'm live, there's something about being live that kind of like I'm more confident in for some reason. Like, just because I know that like it's happening right here, right now, and I'm just on it and we're talking to people, and that's just, I don't know. I feel like that's something that I didn't think I'd be very good at, but now that I've done it so much more times, I feel like it's one of my favorite things to do. Whereas with pre-recorded videos, I find that I stumble and I mess up and I get a little bit more anxious than I do when I'm live, which I don't know why that is, but that's just why. So my favorite is live streams for sure, and the live show and doing the movie news. I like doing trailer reactions, but I'm picky with my trailer reactions because I don't like the not so much the pressure, but like when a trailer drops and it's like I'm at work and I'm on my lunch break and it's like, oh my gosh, we just got the trailer for Echo, and it's like, oh man, as a YouTuber, I'm expected to wait till I get home, set up my gear, sit down, watch it. Kingpin, but sometimes I just want to watch a trailer, and sometimes I do trailer reactions and I'm like, this is boring. Like, I'm editing it and I'm like, this is so boring to watch. This is authentically my reaction, but I wouldn't watch this video. So then I scrap them anyways. So, and movie commentaries, I really like the result of them. I love watching them when they're completed, but they take a long time to edit. And sometimes the loops of going through YouTube, your video is blocked. It's not allowed to be watched in this community or this country. And, getting that resolved can be a headache. So I like doing a number of things, but there's definitely some things that the process I'm less fond of than others.
What about you, Jacob? What do you enjoy doing?
Probably live streams now.
Yeah, it doesn't require any editing. We just got to set up the gear. It's good to go. Just trying to keep the conversation flowing is the challenge.
And probably reviewing things I find the hardest because Zach Attacks did give some great advice that we should be more debating and kind of challenging each other more to make it more entertaining. Where I think in the next review we should do.
For me, I think reviewing is the most difficult of a movie, trying to summarize something without giving away a spoiler in the summary. I find that challenging to
with
do.
the big movies. Yeah,
I find that hard. I think in terms of things that I don't like doing, I don't really like giving a rating for a series. I don't know why this keeps coming up, this pluck tick. I don't like giving a rating for a series like season 1 or season 2 because it's a part of a bigger picture. I think it's hard to go or to rank series. Like often Jake will go, should we rank our favorite seasons of whatever show like in a row? And it's like, well, I can't compare season 1 to season 6 because season 1 needed exist for season 6 to occur. Like in my head, I can't work that out. That's probably one I enjoy doing the least. Actually, the one I enjoy doing the most is probably like episode recaps. I like doing a recap of an episode, like being able to flesh out, talk about what I've seen and what I think and what's coming up next. And so probably episode recaps. I see Spoiler King put his list on here. So he's got Disney Plus, Amazon, and Netflix. Interesting, they put with Disney Plus, he said Bluey's on there in his country. That's pretty cool. In Australia, Bluey's just on like every channel. It's just standard.
Oh,
Bluey,
crazy.
Like the show Bluey itself is based on locations like 30 minutes, 40 minutes up the road from where we live. So it's in Brisbane. So you can go see the Bluey house and you can go see all the parks and stuff that it's based on. And it looks exactly like it does in the show. So that's
I thought
cool.
he misspelled Blu-ray. I don't know what Bluey is.
Yeah, Bluey's a show about the blue heeler dogs that live in it. They're a family and they just get up to like Australian mischief. And I'm surprised it's a worldwide phenomenon, and I'm surprised.
Yeah.
It feels very
Adults love it.
Yeah, it feels really personal. Like you'd need to be an Australian to find it funny, but that's not the case.
Oh, interesting.
Sometimes writing can transcend location. Like I've watched shows from places where like I don't know the cultural context fully, but like the way they write the characters is like I know someone like that. So I don't need to know why you bowed or why you do this. I just know that you're silly goof. And I have silly goofs in my life. So I think that helps. That's probably why Bluey works. Because like we don't know everything that's going on in Australia.
One of the best episodes of Bluey is like they're watching this game of State of Origin. So like NRL rugby league here is massive, and it's like Queensland versus New South Wales. So it's like the equivalent of like the All-Star game in like basketball or in NFL. But it's like the biggest sporting event here. Like it's people are passionate about it, where I think the All-Star game in America is kind of like, hope my star player doesn't get injured. So where that's not the case for this. And it's like, and I was like, I don't know if other countries would care whatsoever, but it's like one of the most popular episodes. Bluey's a kids show. My you ones love it. Me and my girlfriend love it too. It's a lot of good parenting stuff and adult jokes. I could talk about Bluey for ages. My son loves Bluey. So you want to wrap it up for us, Jacob?
Yes. Thank you for joining both Zach. Where can the audience find you for people now and when the live stream is finished?
You want to go first?
Okay, I guess. Yeah, so you can find me on YouTube as Zach Attack Reviews, as you see here. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and all the social medias as Zach Attack RVS, because reviews is too long. I do movie reviews, do throwback movie reviews of movies I've never seen, trailer reactions. I do a live news show on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. every week. And I'm going to be starting a new series where I answer questions that the community has asked me on my community post called Attacking Zach. So be on the lookout for that.
And how many subscribers you're at and what's your goal for near future goal?
Let's see. So let me go look. Let's see if I got any while we're talking. Oh, I got one more while we're talking. Cool. So yeah, I do weekly goals. So I'll try to get 10 subs every week, and I'm gonna miss it by a couple, but that's fine. But right now I'm at 793. My goal is to get to 800 before the year ends. And what the main goal here is the watch hours. I'm 50 watch hours away from being monetized the first level of monetization. So
Mm.
I'm really like pushing to get like content that people want to watch longer. And in general, that's what you should do. So I'm trying to improve my video so people will watch for longer, so it's closer to get monetization. So if you come to Zach Attacks, watch at least half my video, please.
We just asked for 50%.
Just at least 50%. If you stay longer, that's perfect. That's a cherry on top. But at least 50%.
Okay, Zach Talks. Tell us about your channel, where people can find you.
Yeah, so I'm Zach Milne Talks Movies. You can find me on YouTube at Zach Milne Talks Movies. You can find me on Twitter. It's still Milne Movies. I've been trying to change that, but I don't know why I haven't. I'm on Letterboxd. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. That's all at Zach Milne Talks Movies. You know, all those sites are required to do this YouTube thing. I do movie reviews over there pretty much every weekend. I try to every weekend. And every Wednesday, we got Zach Milne Talks Live. We just break down the movie news that are going on. We talk. We just have a great time. The last show is happening this Wednesday for the year. December 13th will be our last show for the year. We'll be picking up again early January. At the moment, we're at 2,430 subscribers last time I checked. We're trying to get to 2,500 before the end of the year. So if you want to join our community, we'd love to have you join us. We'd love to talk movies with you, and consider checking us out.
Sounds awesome.
And Jacob?
As always, like and subscribe to our channel. We're on Twitter and Instagram as well. And as always, you're awesome and keep being awesome. And thank you, both Zachs, for joining the live stream. Hope you enjoyed talking about movies and TV show, and hope to have you again someday.
And thank you for all the new viewers that are watching today and have been commenting. It's really helped a lot. So I look forward to seeing you in future live streams. Okay, see you later, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for having us, man.
Peace out.
Thank you.
That long pause while you wait for